Hello, everybody, to all you fans, YouTube, and everybody else watching. Welcome back to A Certain Point of View here on a Sunday evening. And my goodness, do we have a full house tonight? We have a party planned for the next hour, probably 2 hours. Who knows how long this
hour? Ha 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 ha!
It's
That's funny. That's funny.
I'm just saying. Be prepared. It is definitely going to be well over an hour. It'll probably be one of our longer streams, if not stream, because we have some goodies planned. And obviously, you can see we have a full house. We have those Cine Fanatics are with us. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on? Hi, my name is Goodies.
Goodies.
Welcome. Glad to have Robert and Chris with us. Talk Schmoedown Spectacular, because we have quite a bit to talk about today. Obviously, the crew is here as well. Jill, Brian, Molly. How's everybody doing today?
I've got one. I'm still trying to get over all the craziness of yesterday. It was 9 hours of nonstop mayhem and craziness. So I'm still trying to bring myself down from that, but that's not going to happen tonight. So we're going to keep this party going. So cheers.
It really did feel like our version of a Super Bowl.
Literally,
it really is.
We had snacks, we had drinks. Yeah, still riding that high.
We had an after party after the event. It was like we were all there actually at a live event. It was great.
That's how I explain it to coworkers. Is I've told them about the Schmoedown thing that we do and we react to or whatever. But I was like, this is the Super Bowl of that. This is the big game of the Schmoedown that we do.
Already ruined it. I already ruined it.
I've been referring it to the Super Bowl, but so whatever.
Sports.
Yeah. Yes.
Sports Bowl.
So we have 6 matches to talk about on top of a number of other storylines that are being proposed into 2021, which is officially called Season 8 War. Which was revealed last night during the Spectacular. Oh, yes, for any of you who are watching, be prepared, because spoilers will be said. Whoever has not watched Spectacular,
spoiler alert.
Get your butt to the Patreon, sign yourself up, and watch the Spectacular. But we're not holding back on this one.
Go ahead and turn it on right now. Watch it. By the time you're done, we'll still be here talking about it.
Very fair. Very fair.
You're not wrong.
Well, I think that we should just get to our first guest. The Spectacular started off with an absolute bang yesterday. We got the Star Wars match, and we do have with us Star Wars champion himself, Mr. Alex Damon. What's up?
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Hello. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was a match. What a great way to open Spectacular.
I'm glad it lived up. I'm glad everyone was excited by it.
Yeah, if you're going to start off, it's cool because the Star Wars division has grown so much just over the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. And you start off the biggest event of the year with one of the best matches the Spectacular had to offer. Watching it back, how does it feel?
Pretty much the same. I was still nervous watching it. And I was like, I know what happens here, and I'm still I have nerves. So
it's
I don't know what it is.
It's weird to kind of think about. You're like, I've already been through this. Why do I feel this way? What is happening?
He was looking at the chat, and he was like, I don't want to say anything and break the
magic.
the illusion of this happening live.
That was I think Winston came in after that match into the chat and was like, just finished my interview. What did I miss? And I was like, funny.
Well, so you got to face Ace. It was a long lead up. He obviously won the Star Wars tournament, played very, very well. After all the preparation and the lead up and everything, how did it feel to face off against him and get to go toe to toe with him?
It was scary. I knew my goal was basically to just try to avoid having to get to the 5-point time. I studied 5-point questions really hard this time around, and that level of knowledge, because I knew how good Ace was at those. And I was surprised at the question writers during the tournament at how deep they were going for 5-pointers now. So I upped my game and I did a lot of studying, but I was like, I just want to try to not even get to that point. So that was my goal.
That's fair. Anybody have a question for Alex?
I do. It was something that me and my brother we were talking about when we filmed like our own like little reaction to Spectacular. It was something I brought up in our reaction, in that you've had this belt for like what 2 years, 2.5 years or so. 3. Okay,
3 now.
So you got this belt when Whitwer had to drop out of the Schmoedown. And so originally the idea, the storyline was that you were just going to be gifted the belt. And you were like, no, I want to earn this belt. 3 years later, do you feel like you've earned this belt?
I do. Yeah, I do.
3 years later, many defenses later.
I mean, at this point, you should just carve your initials into it.
Basically, I think that would be a fun, like, if you ever happen to lose it, that would be a fun Easter egg. Like, you're like, belongs to Alex Damon. Like, please return.
Please return.
Yeah.
Please
That'd be a
return
good
to
idea.
Alex Damon.
If I ever lose, there's just a sticker on it that says please return.
Please return.
Well, it's like you.
And when he loses it, it'll just be back here on my shelf.
That's damn right.
Yeah.
Damn right.
That's preferable to me if that's how I'm going to lose it. I just like, here you go.
God,
Yeah.
for him to be a heel just for a second.
I honestly want to see that cutscene. I really want to see that cutscene. There you go.
Me too.
Y'all
Take it
meet,
outside the house.
y'all meet in the hallway and just hand off.
Well, I wanted to ask, because you had said it in the post interview. The questions from the question writers. You've obviously played a lot of matches. Was this one of the best written matches that you've played so far?
I think so. I do. Some of the tournament questions, I was a little bit like, those can be interpreted various ways. Like, and Molly and I were talking about one that she got where, like, how does Padme convince Boss Nass to like help them out? And it's you're almost just describing what happens in the scene. So I much prefer when the questions don't really have like any level of interpretation. It's just there is a definite answer to this, and it's either right or it's wrong. And I can't recall any questions that popped up where I'm like, oh, I don't know if that is supposed to be interpreted this way or that way. And not only that, but just they were tough questions.
Yeah, we were watching it together, and I was like, what is this? What are these? Like, I was looking at Sean, and I was like, he knew them, but I was just like, how?
Well, the one that comes to mind is the Gigantor from the first round. It was like 3 lines long. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Alex, you knew that one not from knowing Star Wars,
No,
but from knowing.
Yeah, it was. I remember back during my like the height of my Lord of the Rings obsession, and like we were going through how old was I? 13, 14, just going through all those extended edition, special edition things, those not special edition, the special features. And they talked a lot about Bob Anderson, who was the Swordmaster for the Lord of the Rings movies. And they kept bringing up that he was the Swordmaster for The Empire Strikes Back. And I was like, oh, I like Star Wars too. Right on. And so that was just still in there.
the Star Wars Rolodex just in there somewhere.
Yeah. And like, I remember them asking the question and I was surprised. I wrote Bob down and then I wrote Anderson thinking I was like maybe 66% on this. So that you can see me like react to getting that right. Yeah.
I literally think you answered it with a question mark. Bob Anderson? Question mark? Like that, but that was, I think for that solidified it for me. Like, this dude's a freaking beast, like pulling this out of, like, I don't know anyone who would have gotten that. Like, I kudos. Kudos.
Thank you.
Well, it's different for us because we're reading the question. You're just listening to the question, which is, and being that big, like, that's a lot to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it just kind of boiled down to some key words. It was just like the Swordmaster. Like, I kind of ignored. I forgot they even talked about the whole, like, he had a cameo as this character in this. I just heard the Swordmaster who played Darth Vader during that fight. And I did know it wasn't David Prowse for all that. So I just honed in on that one part that was actually helpful to me.
I feel like if I got that question, it would be that gif of like all the math equations just like floating around.
That
Be
Gil
like,
Panakis. I just like Christian's joke. Like anyone who asked for JTE on this is kicked out of the league.
I definitely thought about doing it, but I was like,
Just to be that guy. Can you repeat that, Christian?
No.
It probably would have been like, no, sorry.
For Christian's sake, though, it didn't have any like wacky names in it, though, for him to mess up.
That's true. Like decraniated.
Chris, did you have anything for Alex?
Well, I think the one question I had is, I know like you're probably hyper focused generally when you're going into these matches just on your own game and making sure that you're, able to answer everything that you're given. But do you think, was there any point during that where you kind of fed off of Ace's energy? Because I do think there was one point where Ace kind of started beating himself up and started feeling really, really down and out. Whether it was towards the beginning or when you got to that resources question, do you feel any like energy off that? Going, okay, I'm gonna build off of that kind of stuff.
No, not really. I tend to just focus on myself and making sure I'm getting things right. I think the only time I was kind of paying attention to, oh my God, Hilo, paying attention to his game was. I felt that his solo questions were more difficult than my Rogue One questions. He went to multiple choice on one, and I would have had to go to multiple choice on it as well. So I just felt that in there, and I guess maybe I start to think about that in some of my matches, just like, oh, I don't want to get like the easier questions or have people think that, but I don't know. That is what I thought. So
that's part of the game, though. It's just that it's
luck.
It's the luck of the wheel sometimes, and it's like sometimes they might get not as quote unquote difficult questions, but that's the Schmoedown for you, and sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. But I have a question for you. So we all went into this going, Alex doesn't have to study anymore. How does it feel now knowing that Molly is up to deck and the Star Wars studying continues?
I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's just we were constantly studying anyway. It's just now I guess we have to set some time down to like really, really watch the movies and really focus on some things. But we have so many notes at this point. It kind of gets a little bit easier every time.
Wait, y'all haven't really watched the movies yet?
No, I mean, like really watch them instead of just, oh, this is on and I'm enjoying it for fun.
Holy crap!
It's like
we're
we're watching
level of studying.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't even watch the original movies to study, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. But like, he doesn't like when he watches the movies to study. He doesn't watch them like I do, pausing it every other
2
line
seconds, yeah.
to like. And even though my notes cover just about everything that's said, I still will pause and be like, okay, they said this. There's this many people in the room. Okay, Alex can just watch the movies and be like, got it.
I would write down some stuff that I thought. Basically, I'm watching it and I'm asking a bunch of questions and saying like, do I know who that character is? Yeah, I do. Do I know this or like what this Star Destroyer's name is? And if something pops up where I'm like, I got to look that up, then I'll pause it and then I have another 5-pointer under my belt.
That's what I was going to ask is like with Star Wars, they have a huge amount of characters that you see like for 1 second. And much like G.I. Joe, they have like a whole like backstory all written out. George Lucas came up with all these ideas. For example, in this match, they talked about the Bomar Monk, which you saw for like seconds, quickly stares and then walks off. The only reason, like I know me and my brother were familiar, we knew the answers to that because we had the toy of it from the 90s. It was a special mail away. And we're like, oh, it's the Bomar Monk. But how do you watch something like that, see that one little character in the background and go, oh, I might need to know who that is? Like you just try to go searching for who was that in that one particular scene.
I mean, a lot of that is just already in my head because for the exact same reason, like all of the toys, all of the books that I read growing up. So I just recognize when I see a character, I'm like, oh yeah, that guy has lore. That guy has lore. He has a name. So yeah, I kind of just try to keep an eye out for anything that I'm like, oh, that guy delivers like a single line. And I better make sure that I know that person's name if I don't already.
And just to be clear, when you have to look stuff up, you're going to YouTube/Star Wars Explained.
I heard that's a great resource.
I mean, a lot of our videos are on Wikipedia pages, so they end up just auto playing when we look stuff up.
So in a roundabout way, yeah.
I could when we were studying, I was like, I'm gonna go to the Wikipedia. Oh, there's another Star Wars Explained video. Thanks, Alex and Molly.
Do you ever have to go to Wikipedia to look up something yourself, and the first thing that pops up is one of your videos? Like, oh, this is me explaining it to myself. I already knew this actually.
Sometimes, but I usually just like get annoyed and mute it. I don't want to hear. I don't want to actually myself.
Brian, did you have something you wanted to ask?
Yeah, first off, I don't think I've watched these movies so many times, and I don't think I've ever even seen this Bomar Monk character. So whatever. But how close did you come to wanting to do the Clone Wars on the wheel?
Pretty close. It was definitely just like I wanted to flex a little bit and just try, because like everyone expects you to spin away from that, but like Roxy said, like the belt's on the line. It's just that would be my own pride just possibly causing me trouble, because it is definitely the movie that I think all of us just don't really want to land on. Part of me wished that it just landed on it again, and it'd be like, okay, let's go. Like I wound up with Heroes and Villains last Spectacular, and it went fine, even though I didn't want it. But
had Roxy not been there, would you have done it?
I don't know. I kind of was looking for someone to talk me out of it. So I think I probably would have spun away.
Fair.
Before we get to a big question that came up after the match, Molly, do you have anything you haven't asked already?
Because you don't have very many opportunities to ask him. So.
Now's your chance, Molly.
I gotta hit everyone on the panel. Come on.
Just give me all of your knowledge, please.
I'm trying.
So that's gonna lead us to the big question. Obviously, we know what happened at the end of the match with Demolanta, with Laura Kelly, and with our own Molly Damon here. And you don't have to reveal anything yet, but the thought of facing one versus doing a triple threat, when that idea was brought up to you, what kind of came across your mind?
I don't know. Like I'm really split. I'm not a very decisive person when it comes to stuff like this, and I see all the possibilities where I think people would appreciate watching just a one-on-one with me and Andrew, but I think people would also really like for us to mix it up a little more, just to have a different kind of Star Wars championship match. And with all of the speed round and the betting, like so much can swing around with something like that I think the chaos would be a lot of fun. I also think that Christian said that there would be like point incentive to do a triple threat instead of two individual matches. So there's that to consider too, because I've had a lot of people say like, no, just do two matches and get the points. But I think it might be worth it to do the triple threat instead. But I haven't heard anything more about that. So I don't have any decision either way yet on how I want that to go.
That's fair. Maybe it ends up how you see who ends up winning the match between Laura and Molly. You decide. So who knows? Yeah. Maybe that'll decide for you. Well, anybody have anything else for Alex before we let him go?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the chaos thing is actually almost the right way to go, because I mean, if you look in years past, the Knapsack Whitwer match is still one of like the most talked about matches in Spectaculars past. So it might be like one of those things, like as far as the championship match goes, you might want to do the triple threat just for the experience of it and the fun of it.
Yeah. And someone else pointed out that I'm close to like the most title defenses ever, though. So if I did two separate matches, that could help me get there a little faster. But
that's true.
Nice.
There's a lot to consider.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for hanging out, popping by for a little bit. We appreciate it. And real quick, because we do this always on the show, and I don't know if we've asked this on camera yet, but do you have a favorite candy?
Favorite candy? Yeah, Reese's peanut butter cups.
Okay.
Oh.
Just want to make Just want to make sure. Well, yeah, thank you again.
What about when you're watching a movie in a theater?
Oh, probably Reese's Pieces.
I was gonna say probably nothing because you don't want any noise during your movie.
That's true. If it depends on the movie. If it's Star Wars, then I'm probably just sitting there and not focusing on anything else. I'm dehydrated. I'm like, I don't want to go to the bathroom. I don't want to eat anything.
All right.
Fair enough.
Cool. Well, again, thank you so much for popping in. Congratulations on another W and holding that belt for a little bit longer until you face who knows who that next match is for you. And we look forward to it.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
All right.
Alex.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Awesome. Well, we'll get to the we'll get to the Star Wars match here a little bit later after we have a couple guests pop in because we already do have our next one who has been waiting in the wing. And if you've been paying attention to our social media page, you know exactly who that is. And we have the brand new Schmoedown singles champion of the world, Mr. Adam Collins.
Yay!
Let's go.
Guys.
Yay!
I thought I was
how
gonna
does it
finally get
feel?
to hang out. Oh, it feels great. I'm sorry, I was just gonna say I thought I was gonna finally get to hang out with Alex, so I dressed for the occasion. But okay. Molly's still here. Hi, Molly.
Hi.
But hello to everybody. It's good to see you all.
Hi.
And yeah, thanks for having me back. I'm still
There
adjusting.
Hey, Adam.
Oh, hey.
Alex says you can pop him back in if you want.
Oh, there we go. Sweet, there we go.
Not busy till for another 30 minutes.
Perfect.
Oh, there we
Perfect.
go. Hop back on in.
All right.
We'll
I
get
would
all
like-
the champs in here.
I would like Hilo and Pippin also, please.
Oh,
Hey,
boy.
congratulations, champ.
Oh, congratulations to you as well. Thank you for delivering us the faction title early on in the event.
You're welcome.
I know that was your sole intent,
Uh-huh.
but another tremendous performance from you, sir. That was exemplary.
You too. I was like watching. I was like streaming with friends, but not really listening to them. And I had the match up on my other monitor. Like, oh my god, this went to sudden death. Like,
That was all of our reactions as well. We were like, "What? What is happening? What is going on?" Like I was a hot mess.
So you guys had a good time? You had a good time?
Oh my God.
God.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my God.
I wanted to start off by asking, and we'll get into some questions from everybody too. But I wanted to ask, how does it feel to be announced as the movie trivia singles champion?
Well, I mean, you kind of saw it in my match. Christian wanted the Coyote to stay president throughout that match, and I did my best. But it was hard. It was hard to contain myself at the end of that match. I felt like it'd been going on for 2 hours, and it's still a lot. Like, we all had to do our matches, ahead of the spectacular premiering, obviously. So to have to sit on it too, and it just, you start questioning if it really happened. So now for it to be out in the open, it's been a whole additional level of adjustment. And I'm just happy that people aren't rioting in the streets. That's what I was
Nope.
Yeah, because, the Coyote's technically a heel, which I understand, but I was doing my best to also show how much I respected Dan in that match, because it was the exact kind of match I'd want to be in. It was the exact kind of way I'd want to win a title. There were no cheap shots. There were no petty challenges. It was just a straight up match, and that's all I could ask for.
I feel like there's a lot of hardcore Dan Murrell fans out there, but this match specifically, because of your run so far, I think people were going to be psyched either way.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was upset to see Dan lose that belt. Not even Dan.
Well, I mean, we all saw what played out afterwards, which is a different story. And so I think, yeah, exactly. Mr. Rocks. I think that, that kind of took away any fear I had of being the bad guy who took the belt away from Dan. And took it away is a strong phrase. I gently caught it as it slipped off. Like it was, it could have really gone either way. I know that better than anybody.
And boy, could it. Well, how many rounds in overtime did it go? 9?
It was 7 questions.
7 overtime. That
Still
was
though, like after 5 rounds and after facing someone like Dan Murrell, I mean, just from our side, it was crazy. I couldn't even imagine what was going through your head.
Yeah, I want to know what went through your mind as soon as he said, "We're in overtime." Like, what went through your mind at that moment?
Well, I burned all those repeats for 2 reasons. I was doing my best to cycle through mediocre Jason Statham movies, and there's a lot. There's a lot. And then I was also just trying to mentally prepare myself for sudden death. Because I was just like, okay, this is where it's going. Brace yourself for the long haul because you're probably going to get this one wrong. And so by the time and it was fun watching it yesterday and seeing people thinking I was pulling a Bateman. I would never do that. Not for theatrics. So I was genuinely considering my time. So once I got to the end and I'd missed it, I was like, all right, dust that off. It's time to start over. And I just pretended like we were in round 1 again. That's how I approached the sudden death round with Brendan.
And that
pretend it was a brand new match.
Yeah, that clearly that worked to your advantage because here you are, the new singles champion. You're 8-0 now.
7-0
in your 7-0 in your rookie year, coming off as like a last minute draft pick, like a free agent pick, and here you are 7-0 at the end of season 7 as the new singles champion, taking the belt off the GOAT Dan Murrell. Like what? Also on the winning faction. Like so much is happening at this moment. So is this 2020 kind of effing sucked? But is this not like the peak of like maybe things are gonna be okay now?
I mean, it's a mixed bag for all of us, really, and I think we're all clinging to the best aspects of it, which are easy to count. Mm-hmm. So in my particular situation, you can bet I'm doing my best to take all of this in stride. And the Coyote is certainly a little less humble about it. But honestly, I can't do anything but take this in stride. It's I'm off in my own part of the world. I do my best to stay dialed into the conversation that's happening. I pay attention to the conversation that's happening. But I don't directly interact with fans, and I don't do Reddit or Facebook because I just don't want to get into petty squabbles with trolls.
I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I appreciate all of you who are in the trenches, fighting the good fight. But I wanted to spend all of my time focusing on Dan. Mm-hmm. And I didn't, and even though I pay attention to what's going on, I can't participate firsthand because I have to consolidate my energy and my focus. And now that it's the off season, it's back to watching an exponential number of movies every day, and finding ways to work it in. So that's where I'm back at now.
Brian, I believe you had something.
Yeah. So you just said you're watching a lot of movies. Would any of those happen to ever be Star Wars?
Well,
we see what you're doing, Brian.
No, stay
Feel
away.
free to not answer that. Feel free to not answer that.
Please no.
We see what you're doing, and we're here for it.
I have to take my time with anything that may or may not happen in the future of the Schmoedown. But suffice it to say, I am a fan of that franchise, and I know a handful of things about it that might come in handy someday. But in the meantime, I have a belt to defend. Inner Geekdom and Star Wars have become insanely competitive divisions. And I may or may not have mixed it up in those divisions in the fan leagues, but the Schmoedown is a whole other thing to consider, especially after winning that belt. And that has to be the priority right now. But I admire everything that's happening in those divisions. And I think anyone would be lucky to compete in those divisions.
We're keeping an eye on you, Adam. we're keeping an eye on you.
Chris, did you have anything you wanted to ask?
I'm thinking more along the lines of, obviously, this match just passed, obviously you recorded it not too long ago, but, you've had some time to kind of rest a little bit. Are you taking more time right now just to still continue to rest, or are you really kind of back in the grind? And how much does the idea of Dan possibly wanting to come back and build himself back up for that rematch kind of, does that appear anywhere, at least in the back of your head?
Yeah, I mean, I prepare in a way that makes me ready for a match on the fly if needed. Not that means I could be, equally prepared for any match if it were sprung on me. But my point is, I spend every single day making sure I engage with retaining this kind of information. And I have ways that would honestly be hard to describe to other people, that I have ways of organizing this stuff in my head. And I have a way of connecting this information at an efficient rate because I have a life experience of watching movies very closely and obsessing over them. I went to school for film. Didn't know it would get me to the Schmoedown one day, but here I am. No, I mean, honestly, I say that as a joke because my film degree was a great program, but it didn't translate to a direct career for most of my adult life. So, I would kind of be self-deprecating about it. But honestly, now that I've gotten to the Schmoedown, I realize everything has its place in your life. And I'm just glad that this feeds my passion of film and keeps me engaged with it. And studying, or as people refer to it as like just straight up studying, for me, that's just watching a ton of movies. And there's just so many movies out there all across all eras. And if you look at the slices in the Schmoedown, there's just such a cool way to interconnect a lot of the way those things overlap. And then you can kind of focus on what you're watching. And if you're really engaged with it, whether it's a good or a bad movie, you start connecting that to other movies and other movies. And it's just a constant game of 6 degrees of separation. So for me, that's fun. That's a way to unwind, because when I'm in the competitive season, I can't watch as many movies as I would when I don't have a match right on the horizon. So the off season's a chance for me to just throw myself back into being a film goer, catch up on some 2020 stuff that I haven't seen yet, and prepare for next season.
Robert, did you have anything?
Nothing yet. Come back.
I just can't even, like, my brain still hasn't registered that you are literally like basically this unstoppable force at this point. Like, now that you are the champion and you're obviously going to have to defend, other than a Dan Murrell, who would you like to defend your belt against if you had to pick somebody?
Well,
I was going to ask that.
Sorry. Fine, I can ask something different. You can take
He
it
asked the serious questions here.
You got to be careful. And as once you've won the belt, you're not necessarily going to be in a position where you're calling people out. It's nice to kind of sit back, because it's been a slugfest this season. Like, I'm happy about how things turned out, but a couple of my wins were very narrow. And, I lost that team's match fair and square against the Odd Couple. So I don't consider myself invincible. I do appreciate the way, I appreciate the support of a lot of the fans and a lot of the belief in what I can do. It motivates me to rise to the occasion, because even you want to win for the people who support you, and you also want to win for the shitbag trolls, who just can't. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I got you.
But it keeps you motivated. But I honestly, as far as who I would want to play next, we have a lot of people in the pipeline to get to a number one contender shot. So, by my math, that includes Dan, Snyder, Irwin, and Liz Shannon Miller. And any one of them, So any one of them, obviously playing Merle again would be very exciting. I would want to double my efforts to show people that my win over him was not a fluke. And Snyder, obviously, I would have to beat him. I mean, I could never give him the satisfaction. of beating.
Never.
I can't not in singles anyway.
No.
And I know that's what would mean a lot. Like he's happy that he beat me in teams, but I know he wants to beat me in singles more than anything. And Liz obviously, would probably have revenge on her mind, and playing her would be very competitive. But playing Erwin one-on-one would be a thrill. So let's see how it shakes out. It's going to be nice to see other people play a little mini tournament for a change.
That's for sure. I love that list of names too. It's like there's a lot. Liz, just Liz being in there makes me so happy because the more of her in my life, the better.
She earned her spot at the top, and she's really dialed into this game. And I think she started focusing on categories in a very strategic way.
Yeah.
So she's a different player than when she started.
She's spectacular. And I will add just another comment. I don't know a single damn person who thinks that your win was a fluke. You won in 7-round overtime, good sir. That is not a fluke of a win. That is you 100% deserving that belt that you are currently holding. So congratulations. You deserve every piece of that championship.
I do appreciate it. And honestly, no one wants to play a match in a studio or in a live setting more than me. I can't wait to get that.
Let's go.
I just can't wait. Like, let's all wear masks. Let's do it outside. Let's
stadium.
Yeah, or like I suggested backyard wrestling to Hambone once on LGR. Backyard wrestling style, barbed wire, and
Oh my God, Christian Harloff, take notes. Let's do it. Background wrestling Schmoedown. Let's go.
Jean jackets on with no shirt underneath.
Yes.
Like, let's have a time.
I'm sold.
But no, I would love to definitely play a match in person. Hopefully, several next season. Because I have no complaint about playing the game any way we can. And I know there's a narrative, that like we'll see how this kid does when he plays in person. But trust me, I'm ready.
You got this. You got this. Cannot wait to have you in that studio, sir. It's going to be a real blast.
Molly, did you have something?
Yeah. So going back a little ways, watching you compete in the horror tournament was like maybe the most thrilling thing for me to see happen. And so I wanted to ask if you could do any other kind of exhibition type tournament like that. What genre would you want to do?
There's a few. First of all, thank you for bringing up that match, because that was one of the highlights of my season, just because I love that genre so much. And I was not at all worried about outing that as a strength for me, because I honestly use that to my advantage in the Dan match. I'm not ashamed to admit that I put horror on the wheel, because I think a lot of people would have assumed that. But the reason I included horror wasn't so much to include it for myself, but to see if Dan, who normally would pick that slice because he's good in it, would run away from it. And that's what ended up happening.
That was so good.
And if he had kept it, I also know the questions were going to be harder because it was a championship match, and they knew I put it on there. So I knew the questions would have probably been pretty tough. So it was just like, let's see how it plays in. And it got him to young adult, which gave me that extra point, which was crucial.
Yeah.
So you never know how it's going to play out, but I felt like it was a worthwhile swing to take. As far as other matches I would like to be in, I could get down on that Rocky exhibition.
Yes.
So in the fan leagues, the Rocky and Creed franchise is a popular strength all of its own that you can put on wheels a lot of the time. So it came up a lot, and it was just one of those that I loved. I even got to write a Rocky exhibition match for a fan league match, and it was awesome.
Nice.
So I would love to try my hand at that. I don't know, maybe that that Middle Earth. Look,
Alex.
I think a lot of people want to play Middle Earth after watching that, so I got to get in line. But yeah, I love that franchise, so we'll see.
What about
leading off that-
Indiana Jones? Indiana Jones?
Yes.
Anyone?
Alex is taking all my things.
Brian, we see what you're doing.
Star Trek.
Alex, do you have a question for your fellow champ?
Yeah, I do. Did you have a favorite or maybe just a most memorable question from the match? Whether it was something that you were like, "Oh, I can't believe I pulled that out," or something that you've just had in your head for so long that you were like excited that you got to answer?
That's a good question. I mean, I was really happy to have stuck with Clint Eastwood and made it 7 out of 8 because that was definitely kind of a gutsy thing to stick with because it's so broad and when it comes to like the individual wheel slices for like actors and directors, Clint Eastwood is not as quantifiable as a lot of slices. So I knew I was taking a risk, but yeah, I was just happy because I've spent a lot of time catching up on Clint Eastwood's filmography for the past couple of years. And that's why I knew those 3 questions that I got without multiple choice. So like I sat through J. Edgar Hoover or J. Edgar for the first time last year, and it was quite bad. But I remembered Armie Hammer right away. I was like, yep, I remember that. So I was glad to have that. And then sudden death, like there were just several that came up. I wasn't sure about a couple. Like I was on the fence about James Caan, but it just made more sense to me than anyone else. So yeah, and then I know it's obvious to like IG players, but like that was a fun little like mini curveball, not a big one, but a mini curveball they were trying to throw out with that 2-pointer about Tom Holland's first MCU film.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would blurt out Homecoming, and I wasn't going to do that, but I was like, yes, okay. So like that was a fun one just to take pause with, but yeah, I'd say the things I was really satisfied with, Alex, you saw in that horror match, because those were some deep cuts that are never going to come up. They're not going to ask about Poltergeist 3 in a single anytime soon.
Hey,
So.
you never know. You never know.
Yeah, with PJ being a writer, I guess you're right.
Exactly.
Horror, yeah.
Robert,
I probably have to pop off now, but congratulations again, Adam.
Pleasure. Good to break
Thank
the
you,
ice.
Alex.
Thanks again, Alex.
See everybody.
Bye.
Robert, did you think of anything?
Not so much a question, but kind of an awesome, I guess, kudos to you. So real quick, because I feel like we'll probably mention this maybe a couple more times. My brother and I were not able to watch the Spectacular live because I had to work, so we didn't get started till like about 9:30 our time.
Were you up until 6 a.m.?
We didn't get done till like 5:30 in the morning.
Oh my God.
So here's the thing: we're coming to that final match out of watching all these, and we're like, I want to go to bed. But then, like, as this match is like winding down, we're like, oh, we are so awake. And then you hit that that sudden death. We're like,
Let's go for it.
we're like, bring it. Let's go. Let's go. Another hour of this or 2 or 24. I don't care.
We'll be fine.
So good job on the performance on there. Just that was a lot of fun to still be like that hyped at that late in the morning. Yeah. Just loved it.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'm just glad that it was a match that Dan and I could both be happy with in the end. Mm-hmm. Because I knew once we got into sudden death that if I lost to him, I'd still be in a good position going into next season. I couldn't hang my head about it, but to have eked it out the way it happened, I'm excited, I'm humbled, but I'm also energized for next season. I really want to keep that belt.
And now you're a kept player. You're guaranteed to be on.
A keeper.
Yeah. I'm like, what's the
Yeah.
term? You're a keeper. How does that feel being one of Shannon's 3 keeper picks?
It's bittersweet, to be honest. Because I want to stay with corruption. That's my first choice. But we gotta figure out a way to get Marisol back.
I swear to God, if any manager steals Marisol
That's
from
what
corruption,
they all want to do, and I
am going to personally
Wait, hold on,
come after
Jill,
them.
hold on, stop, Jill, hold on. Go ahead.
Oh God. Okay. Managers, you know me. I'm gonna call you guys out. Tom, Kate, my darling, Winston,
Kaiser, Koi.
Kaiser, my lovely babies. If either of you take Marisol away from corruption and you get rid of my lovely deception team, I will personally come after each and every one of you, and you will loathe me so much that you'll decide to give her back to corruption because you don't want to deal with my nonsense anymore. So I'm gonna come after you. I swear to God, if deception is not a team next year, I will fight people.
Jake, you got to clip that and tweet it.
That's exactly why I did it. It's exactly
If the
why.
other managers in the Schmoedown like their knees.
Exactly.
you're
If
saying.
you like to keep your knees and your ankles,
Um,
please even try.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. Can we do the draft back at the Booker T Arena in Houston? Because this would be great.
I will pull a Kanye and I will go up there.
I was gonna say pull another Schmoedown competitor who just runs up on in the middle of the arena.
I will pull a Robert Parker and I will come up on that stage and I will be like, no, this is not allowed.
Hey, Molly was there for that.
I'll be banned for all.
I was like, who let this little kid in?
This child?
This adorable little child.
Just
who has a savage beard now, by the way.
I do want to get to a couple of Streamlabs that did come through because Adam is with us. A couple of them have, or one of them has had Alex in it, but that's, it's okay because it's just a comment. It's from Ferris. He donated, thankfully. Ferris, you the man, as always. He says, Alex, my man, you did a great job. And Adam, mad love to you as well. You all played phenomenal matches. I was pacing back and forth at work. So damn stressful, but y'all did it. Woo. Jake, make sure you yell woo. Oh, okay.
Woo.
Let me do it again. So damn stressful, but y'all did it. Woo! I love
There's the effort.
Maximum effort.
There you go. The next one comes from D Train, and he says, "What's up, guys? It was great watching this season with y'all. If you guys don't win Best Schmoedown Talk Show of the Year, we riot. Thank you so much, D Train. I was wondering if you guys think that they'll start putting questions for the Mandalorian in the Star Wars division. So this was probably when Alex was here." And then he continues the second one. It says, the show is getting bigger and it'll keep the Star Wars season fresh. It'll also bring in new fans who mainly watch the show, not to mention all the other shows coming on Disney Plus in the future. And then he says, Alex named the 4 major sports teams in Atlanta. Just kidding.
Can I just say that we all died of laughter when Mark Ellis asked Alex a sports question? We were like, it's sports. Like, no. It's
Molly, how many can you name?
The Falcons, the Braves, the Thrashers.
No.
Is that hockey?
You had the Thrashers, but they're not there anymore. So
I mean, I'll give it to
I
you.
will give you that.
I'll give it.
allow it.
And
Yeah,
Atlanta United. Or wait, is that what it's called?
that's
No.
your soccer team, but yes.
The one that
United.
Alex missed was the Hawks.
Who's your basketball team?
Well, I just said it. So.
I don't
Y'all,
remember.
y'all realize that Alex is here and he's like retaining all this knowledge, and later on he's like, "Why do I know at like Georgia sports teams?"
Well, I do want to say to Adam. I mean, look, man, this season has been wild. You've only been in this league for 6 months officially, and you're a 7-0 undefeated champion at this point. Congratulations on the title, and I can't wait to see what you do next year in a full season. Hopefully, we do get back to in person quickly. But if it isn't in person, can't wait to see what you do with a full season, under your belt. So it's gonna be very exciting.
Thank you very much, and keep up the good work over here. Let me know if you want to hang out during the off season.
All right,
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm sure you've heard about my outrageous Zoom chats, so we will talk.
All right.
Adam,
Talk to you later,
thank you so
guys.
much, man. Have a good night.
Thank you,
Thanks, you as well.
Adam.
Woo.
I love him.
Yes, that was great. That was great. But we're not
Also,
stopping.
I will say, just to point out the Mandalorian question in Star Wars, Kristen actually answered that in his Q&A in Facebook today.
Mhm.
He said not this season because it is the movie Trivia Schmoedown, but to be determined, I
Sweet.
believe is the exact quotage from Mr. Christian Harloff. So
Sweet.
Although
Yeah.
Alex has already said if you want to make him hold that belt longer, bring in those categories.
Yeah. everyone that asks Alex, oh, like what do you think if they bring in any of the shows? And he's like, honestly, that just makes it easier for me.
Like, give it to me.
Because we live, breathe, and sleep
Breathe.
Star Wars. So.
Okay, so to all of you watching, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Continue your guys' questions in the chat on Streamlabs. Links in the description. You can also see it at the pinned at the top of the chat on YouTube. But we're gonna get to our next guest, and we're very, very excited to have our next guest on because she had an unexpected surprise on Spectacular yesterday, and we're gonna talk to her about it. And that is Miss Mara Knopic will be joining us.
Hello.
How's it going?
Going well. Very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I mean, after the appearance of yesterday, it was an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, I loved how incredibly awkward that was.
I feel like filming Schmoedown stuff like that is always like a little bit cringy for everyone involved.
Well, it wasn't entirely a bit. All of a sudden, just out of nowhere, they just threw me in there, and I was like, "Oh, we're doing this right now." That's fun.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I want to throw it to the panel. Anybody have a question for Mara about yesterday, about just going forward, anything IG related?
I'll start. How excited are you to be back? Because I am so as soon as you after, I'll be honest, I was Team Chance all the way for that IG bout, so I was a little sad at the end of that IG match. But as soon as your beautiful face pop on that screen, I went, I literally went, oh my god, it's Mara, and I went. Is she? No, she's gonna ask for the title shot. No.
I can confirm a Jill freak out definitely did take place.
Freaked out, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I was like, "Mara's back," and I freaked out. So I am so happy to have you back. How excited are you to be back in the world of the Schmoedown?
I'm incredibly excited. I do wish that the world were a different place because I love live events. I love playing to a big crowd. So this will be a new and interesting thing, but I mean, that's what the Schmoedown is. It evolves, it changes. The world evolves and changes and crumbles around us. So, we're doing the best we can, but I'm very excited.
Yay!
Yeah, I can confirm that we were, once you showed up, we were yelling and screaming and saying, like, she's going to take that belt from Chandler.
We were like, take it back, Mara, take it back. We were screaming. It was
it's unsure of which one of the four of us screamed loudest.
Yeah, so it was definitely a lot of screaming happening.
Chris and Robert, you guys got anything?
Yeah. My question, I got a question here. How badly do you feel like you're going to destroy that insufferable current IG champion?
I think
he said it, not me. He said it.
If I had to say what is my personal goal, it would be to give everyone like you a really great match to watch. I want to be proud of what I do. Obviously, winning is always fun, but I just want to go out there and make myself proud and make sure that Dan is proud of me and how I do, that I've put in the time as much as I possibly can. And, the good news is you can celebrate with like food and drink, or you can like mourn with food and drink. And so this house has lots of food and drink. So pretty well stocked. Plus, I'm not going to lie. At some point, I would really, really love to go 12 rounds of overtime. So that way we no longer have to talk about going 11 rounds of overtime.
That's great.
Love it.
Good.
Robert, what about you?
Oh, geez. Was this something like Christian was asking if you were wanting to throw the hat in to go up against Chandru, or was this like you basically asking Christian like, hey, if whoever wins this match, I want a shot against them?
I mean, yeah, that's basically how just as far as the structure of title matches in a season, that made the most sense just from a logistics standpoint. So I can't necessarily testify to the inner workings of Christian Harloff because I don't even think he knows how his own mind works, because he knows 1,000 amazing things all at the same time. But he managed to herd these cats into next season. So that's just what we're doing.
I will say quickly before Molly, I'll go to you next. Mara, you fit in very well with this crew because you have a little Grogu in the background, as everybody else does.
Yay! I see him back there. Yay!
You
That's
fit in
the
very
one.
well.
We're twins. That's the one I want.
That's the only one that's not in my office. It's in Alex's office.
How dare he?
I know. I'm running out of room.
Is that the Hot Toys one or?
Dan ordered me one. I'm gonna grab it because it's right off screen. He ordered me one last year, and it didn't. He was like, I can't get it right away. It's like back ordered, so it was coming, and it got there. I don't know, February or something, and then in May, I think, this guy shows up in the mail, and I guess that he had like not canceled the other order or something too, and I liked that one when he gave it to me. It was so sweet. I was very moved. But the minute I got this one, I started screaming that we're not giving it back, and I don't care what it costs.
Oh, that's so good.
You can't take away the children.
That was this little guy.
Oh,
my God.
I mean,
Oh my gosh.
no comparison.
Oh my god. You're so cute.
There's
The
just
more-
different levels of cuteness.
Exactly. The more Grogu, the better. Like, let's be
Yes.
real.
Yeah, it's still weird. I mean, I know, Robert, you had asked earlier about calling him Grogu, but we haven't said Baby Yoda or anything on this chat yet. I mean,
No.
it's Grogu officially. I'd say.
All Grogu all the time.
I'm trying to use his name more, and at this point, it's yeah, I'm used to it.
I'm trying to use his name more just because it makes him happy.
Yeah.
So if it makes Grogu happy, it makes me happy. So I'm going to call it a Grogu.
Molly, did you have anything for Mara?
Yeah, I guess I want to know if you kept up with the IG tournament when it was airing, and if you were like really surprised by the depth of the questions, just the general knowledge of the other players, or were you kind of like, yeah, I got this?
I mean, every single match that I've ever watched, there's always something in there where I said, "Oh, that." But no, I would say that I would have been very competitive. I wouldn't say I'd win every match or that I would lose some of the matches, but I was able to be competitive, and I think that for not having dedicated any time or energy, I was surprised at how much I had retained. So it's definitely a little bit of a confidence booster to hope that since the foundations are there, that, you know, we can build ourselves some sort of tall structure of knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're all super excited to see you play again. So.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
As we have mentioned from our screaming. We are all very excited.
I was gonna say it's interesting just because, and you pretty much answered the question, but I'd always been wondering, like, because ever since you haven't been in the league, the IG division has grown so massively over the last just year or two, and it's become such a different style of play. You know, outside of the tournament, has anything that you've watched from the IG division or just the competitive edge from some of these players, is it just like a totally weird thing to see, or are you just ready to get back into it?
I mean, it's definitely different, but I do think that we might see the way that Inner Geekdom feels next season might be a little different, because I think one of the biggest changes is that Inner Geekdom is, and this isn't like a dig, but it's just a fact, it's overpopulated by heels. So you're going to get much more friction and, you know, negativity just because of who they are as characters. So perhaps having a baby face return to that part of the league, and you never know who could make a face turn in the future.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe that will help us feel a little bit more like the old style of play, just from a sportsmanship standpoint.
I've never thought of that, but you're 100% right. There really isn't a whole lot of quote unquote faces in the IG league. So to have you come back as the star IG player and bringing that back into like the play as just that just having a face or like quote unquote hero back into the league is going to be refreshing, really, and I'm very excited for that.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited too.
I got something, because now that season 7 is officially over, and you've gotten to see all the managers at work with their factions and how it kind of all works, being that the draft is upcoming.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a manager or a faction that you kind of outside of outside of Koi, being that you were drafted by him, that you kind of like really enjoyed watching, or you were surprised by this manager and how he or she managed during the season?
I have to say that the manager that I was incredibly impressed with is Shannon, because there's always just a teeny tiny amount of skepticism from how effective can a manager be that hasn't played the game. But clearly her relationship with Mike has given her this immense knowledge of how to strategize. And I think her biggest skill that I envy very much is she knows exactly when to motivate her players, and she knows how to make them look forward in matches, not backward. And I think that that's very important for a player's confidence and their ability to just power through, because you can power through and get a win, but if you have given up inside your own mind or emotionally, then you're just kind of throwing in the towel. And she is just, every single time she's giving like a "you can do it, stop pouting" speech, I'm just like, yes, I need that, I love it.
Yeah, for me, she's definitely up there for manager of the year. She's absolutely killed it, from really going from absolute dead last place at the beginning of the season to being the faction champions by like 16 points or something crazy.
Yeah.
Like, insanity. So we love you, Shannon. Kudos.
I do have a Streamlabs that has come through for you. Actually, maybe even two of them. This is from Canada Rocks, and he says, "Great to see you back, Mara. Is Knopic a Slavic name? I only ask because I have relatives by marriage who have the same last name, and welcome back again."
Oh, thank you. Yes, there's a little bit of that in my family history, but primarily we're Middle Eastern and Central Mediterranean. But yeah, I've done a little bit of some ancestry related stuff because I don't know a lot about my biological family. So I think one of my relatives was born in Czechoslovakia back when it was still that. I think sometime in the 1800s, but it's just a nice mixture of people that make hummus. Like, that's my ancestry, people that make hummus.
Perfect.
I mean, hummus is great. I love hummus.
Mhm.
So, you never go wrong with hummus.
I had some right before we did this.
Does anybody else have any questions for Mara and her upcoming season?
I've one slightish. If you obviously your focus is towards your next match. Is there anyone that you would just like want to play against, just even if it was just like for fun, for exhibition, just because you think you would have like a fun time doing it, like a one-on-one with?
That I want so badly, and same from his perspective, is actually Kevin. We were so looking forward to it because we've grown exceptionally close, particularly over the last year, and I know that we've got it penciled in for the somewhat near future, whenever he's ready and he's back. So that would just be the most fun that I could have.
That'd be the best.
I'm so
I mean,
excited
I
about
would
that.
love to play an IG match against Dan, especially if I'm lucky enough and I can get the belt back. Dan is probably going to enter into an IG tournament this year. And I think it would be amazing if he were able to challenge me, because it would be the most win-win match that I've ever seen. Because
Yes.
if I would win, I'd have a title defense, which would be great because there haven't been any individual females that have successfully been able to defend a title. And also, if he won, he would be the first person to have belts in 3 separate leagues at any point in time. So it's making no matter what. So that would be amazing. But,
Ooh.
sometimes Mara's fantasy future and the real life future don't happen to coincide.
I think a lot of people would wish that one into existence.
We
I think
get
I
lucky putting it into the ether, so we're gonna put that into the ether that is gonna happen, because we want some Dan and Mara matches in our life. So I'm gonna put that in the ether right now.
We'd have to pick which room of which.
Who gets to stream from where?
Yeah.
I think I have
I'm
like
still dreaming of the day that I get to play Alex, so I totally get you on that.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
we're on this train where the belt just stays in the one household. Like every single one of the leagues.
Chris, do you have something?
Like he
Yeah,
had to walk over to my part of the house with his iPhone camera, and
There you go.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I have like less of a question, but more of just like a kind of a gushing about you as a competitor, having been a champion and everything, and just I feel like at this point, Mara versus like literally anybody in IG is going to be. It's bittersweet because like obviously we want to see all these matches, but I feel like all of them are best served for a live event, and obviously we're not going to get those anytime soon. So it's like I want to see Mara come back and compete, but I also want to see her compete at a live event with some of these people too. It's going to be good, like headline matches.
Mhm.
I'm right there with you, man. I mean, live events are just the best, and you know, I thrive on being able to harness awkwardness and have people enjoy that. And the bigger the better, the more awkward the better. But the good news is Christian did not say that I had to wear pants, so we're already
No pants.
No pants. No pants.
I encourage everyone that watches that match to also not wear pants.
Ooh.
No pants will be worn. in the film
Molly's
of
like,
that match
done
promotion.
deal.
We'll start it. We'll start a hashtag.
Hashtag no pants.
Well, I think the only right way to finish this off is asking Mara the important question here from POV, and that is, what is your favorite candy and what is your go-to movie snack?
Okay. Oh, this is so difficult. I know it sounds so silly, but my go-to movie snack is baby carrots. I sneak them in the movie theater because
You eat Mark Ellis?
Ellen woke up from the deepest sleep of all time and just
What?
well, it's great because in like a really slow, like tense drama, like an awards contender, I have to wait until something is happening, like someone's crying because their child has died in their arms, and then I can bite into the carrot and eat it because it makes so much noise. But if it's like Transformers The Last Night, I can just eat the whole time. But I would say favorite candy. Oof. I think maybe I'm going to say Butterfinger because the few times that I risk eating ice cream because I am very severe lactose allergy, the few times that I risk anaphylaxis is for a Butterfinger blast or blizzard or whatever facility that I'm at that puts Butterfinger into heavy cream related drinks.
Give me a blizzard any day. Oh man, I love a good blizzard.
That used to be my go-to blizzard from Dairy Queen. Dairy
The
Queen
Butterfinger.
was the Butterfinger one. Yeah.
I love
I miss
Heath, and I've always wanted to try it, but I worry because toffee is already so hard that with it being very cold, that I wouldn't like the mouth feel. So one of
Yeah.
these, maybe I'll
That's
give it a
true.
whirl.
those are the
We
important
can talk
questions
about
of
this
the world.
all day long. I'm very analytical about desserts.
It's all
We
good.
have gotten so off track on talking about stuff like that so
Yep.
many times. Oh yeah, we're supposed to be talking about other
All right, Schmoedown. Anyway, so,
Yeah, we have a food section in our Discord
We
just
do.
for conversations
Love
about
food.
snacks.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that
true.
sounds amazing.
Well, Mara, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with us for a little while. We really, really appreciate it. We cannot wait to see you back in this league and taking it to the current champion.
destroy him,
insufferable.
Mara.
The word is
Destroy
insufferable,
him.
Jake. Insufferable current.
I
champion.
wanted to leave that to everybody else to shoot their words out there.
Yes.
He
So,
licked the belt, get him out of there.
Oh my
I'll
god.
do my very best to not disappoint all of you guys. So fingers are crossed. I can also cross 4 of my toes, so we're good.
If you do get that belt, make sure you Lysol wipe just one time.
Yeah, you might wanna-
Well, I've never won that belt because I won the old
Oh,
belt.
that's right.
It is a new belt.
I
Yeah,
wonder if it's
so,
heavier than the old
switched
one.
over during Rachel's reign. So Mike and I would be the only 2 competitors, if I can win it, that would have won the old belt and the new belt, like in
Ooh.
competition.
love it.
So I would love to join him in that distinction. It'd be
You've
amazing.
got this, Mara. You've got this.
Positive
This one is
waves.
lighter.
Well, whenever that match does happen, we look forward to having you back on this channel with the belt
Absolutely.
in picture. So
Yes, with the belt
um,
on your shoulder.
yeah. Well, we look forward to the next couple weeks, next couple months with everything going on in Schmoedown, and good luck with everything.
Thank you guys. Thanks
Thank
everyone.
you, Mara.
Have a
Happy
good night. Thank you.
Bye. Happy Hanukkah.
Oh my god, I love her.
Yes.
I'm
that was
so
awesome.
glad she's back. I'm so like to the viewers, literally no exaggeration. We all lost our damn minds when Mara came on screen.
I want
Obviously.
to ask Chris and Robert, because we were all on camera together. Chris and Robert, what were you guys' reactions when she popped up?
It's kind of like this. Ooh.
Yeah.
But, oh, look, Mara's here. Something's about to happen. It's pretty good, too.
It honestly took me a second to realize that she still had her like the quote unquote like for wrestling terms like her money in the bank, like I can cash this in for my title shot, and I was like, wait, is she cashing in her title shot? No, and like just panic and screaming ensued, and insert shocked Jill face here, and it was a lot of screaming.
Molly Hilo would like more buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah.
You guys will see that clip out. Stay tuned to all you watchers. All right, guys, let's really get into this now because we do have a lot to talk about. I mean, look, we just had a great hour with Alex Damon, Adam Collins, and Mark Knopic, which was awesome. But we have some massive things to talk about, and let's just start it off. Let's go in order here chronologically. Let's start with the Star Wars match. Obviously, we know that Alex retains the belt. He defeated Ace in fashion of TKO. Which is a really big deal because Roxy was able to jump up from where she was and end up in third place in the factions. Alex played a huge part in that all year long, and he was able to take that for her. As long as with the Odd Couple a little bit later on, which we'll be talking about. Let's just break down the match, talk about a little bit. Were we surprised? What were you surprised about during the match? Did Ace play great? Chris, I'll go ahead and start with you all the way over in the corner.
Surprised is not the word I would use because at this point I have a steadfast rule for the Star Wars division, which is you don't bet against Alex Damon ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Sweet, yeah.
Even if the person that he's facing just ran through an entire tournament from a play-in match all the way and is like on the cusp of like taking down his record or what, I don't care. You don't bet against Alex Damon. And that's like obviously that's no slight against Ace because like I just said, Ace is probably, and I say this trepidatiously, he's probably still in my mind the Star Wars player of the year. But at the same time, it's you don't bet against Alex Damon.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. We'll see where people's loyalties lie.
In that case, you don't bet against a Damon. There we go.
Yeah.
Safety.
All better.
Brian, what about you?
Oh, my favorite part was learning that she's been betraying us for the last
whole time.
Let's break it down for what everyone doesn't know. She's been telling us that Alex had an amazing thing happen after the match, and we should definitely watch it. Lies.
And we're like, okay, cool. So like we're all watching, and then like
all of a sudden Molly's face pops up.
And then we're all like, what? And then Laura's face pops up, and I'm like, what is happening? And we all
we love
damn minds.
We like very nice.
I was so excited to keep that from you guys.
The deception.
But then to be like, oh yeah, Alex says something crazy happens after the match. I don't know what it is.
I believe every second.
It was never questioned on our part.
I was like, oh cool. I was like, even Molly doesn't know. This is gonna be awesome. I'm so excited. I was like, are we gonna get a heel Alex? What's gonna happen? And I was like waiting, and I was like, Alex is gone. Nothing happened. Did I miss something? Is something else going to happen? And then Miss Laura Kelly pops up on my screen. And then Miss Molly Damon, who I am currently talking with on our Zoom call at the same time, also pops on my stream. And I look at her and I go, Molly, what is happening?
Yeah, I'm just glad that I could convince you guys. Like maybe we should record our reactions for some of this stuff.
Chaos.
You got trust me. To all you watching, you will see all of this happen.
Yeah, we recorded.
It'll all be clipped out, and you will all see the lies and deception from Molly's face as we're watching this.
I know.
We literally taped all 9+ hours just in case something happened.
I think what was so funny about that is literally like 3 minutes prior, some fan in the chat put, it'd be so cool if there was a Laura versus Molly versus Alex like match to like a #1 contender. And I literally said, oh my god, that would be so cool. Like not even realizing that it was literally about to happen.
Yeah, I loved that Laura was also in the chat, and so then I was kind of in the chat saying things like yawn. Like,
We were getting some heel Molly Damon up in that chat. That was
I do want to pause the conversation just real quick because Christian actually just posted something that's actually very important going forward. All of us are wondering, or we were wondering, what's going to happen with the Droogs no longer being a team with the trade. So everything that happened with them is gone. And he had put it up earlier in a comment. That means that Ethan Irwin is officially a free agent. He's not part of the suspects. And that pick that he traded for Ethan Irwin goes back to Sam. And so that's what's happening going forward. It all just goes back to normal like it was at the beginning of the year, which is a big deal. That's a very, very big deal because we know at this point that someone like Dan Murrell is available and Sam has that option.
Guys, we're going to talk about this later, but I just want to comment. Dan Murrell is an effing free agent right now.
Not for long.
Weird.
What is happening right now? Anyway, Star Wars match.
I wanted to talk to Robert and Chris real quick. The reaction to the possible of the 3-way and the number 1 contender match and all that stuff.
I'm super curious as to how this is going to happen because like I feel like I could go either way as like people as us. I'm so speechless as someone who's done like reactions for so long. Like I see kind of like what Alex was saying earlier. I see the need to go either direction, whether it's like for him and his own standings or his faction or for what like the fans are actually going to want to see. Like I'm torn because I get all of those and I want like all of them, but you can't choose.
I'm not jealous to be in his seat right now. I would not want to choose between those two.
Happy wife, happy life. So
happy wife, happy life.
I think I'm like, as I touched on earlier while Alex was here, for me, like variety is the spice of life. I love what we get in terms of matches all the time anyway, but every now and then if you throw in a triple threat with like highly competitive individuals in a division that has grown so competitive over time, I can't say no to the idea of the triple threat. It just seems like such fun, especially like as I said earlier when you're talking about you looked at that Iron Man match between Knapsack and Whitwer and how much like that was different from the normal matches and how much that's still being talked about as like one of the best matches that the division even saw.
They used that clip in the like the intermission.
The big promo, yeah.
In the promo, it was part of it. Like that, it's like a gone down in the history books in a Schmoedown match. You know, it's one of those.
And like the last triple threat in Star Wars was live with Alex, Ken, and Joseph. And that was a freaking fantastic match.
They're a great way to change things up. And I know we've all talked about it, and everyone's been talking about it since yesterday. It just adds another like, and for lack of a better term, like another coolness factor to the match. You know, having a 3-way battle between 3 players, one of them possibly being a champion. And putting his belt on the lineup against 2 people who could take it and not just one. And like he was even saying when he was on here earlier, that there might be a bigger value to that rather than just playing the one person. And that makes the decision even harder because if it's like this big thing, like, okay, if you win, you get this, but you're putting your belt on the lineup against 2 people. It's big. Also, if he wins that match, I mean, it's like, will he ever be beat if he wins a 3-way? Like that's pretty crazy.
I know there's going to be some new people like sending in videos to Christian trying to get into the league. We have at least one person that we know personally send a video in who has beaten Alex at Star Wars Trivia at DragonCon. So it can be done. And
I will redact that comment from this stream.
he sent in an audition tape, as far as I know, and I would love to see him in this crazy.
I think honestly, we're just gonna have to get to a point where we have Alex as the tier 1 champion, and then we're gonna have a tier 2 champion.
I mean, yeah,
1A and 1B.
I kind of want to see like a Star Wars free for all. Just get everyone in there.
Oh
Yeah, like
put them all on line them up on a table and start asking the questions.
Yeah, like a free for all Iron Man match.
That'd be
type of
amazing.
scenario. Just
Honestly-
a knockout, drag out. Let's just
Even if it's just an exhibition match, like just
Mhm.
having like a Star
Jill,
Wars free for
Be
all.
careful what you say. You're volunteering your man to do some stuff.
That means I have to be coach again.
But honestly, like the way that everyone in the Star Wars League, like I feel like they could all beat Alex in one way or another. Just it depends on the questions. So I think a free for all would be amazing to see because I mean,
And
like
a free for all would be incredible, and this would never happen. But this would be so awesome if it did. Say whether it's the beginning of this year or the beginning of next year. Say Alex in 2022 still has the belt. Say no one was able to beat him, and he goes, Christian, I want to give up my belt and I want to face every Star Wars competitor that this league has. That would be effing awesome. And he won the belt back that way. I mean, at some point, if he continues to win, you're going to have to find a way to get the belt away from him. Like
Alex Damon versus the world.
Yeah, like it'd be crazy. It'd be crazy. But anyway, I did want to say because I do want to talk about Ace just a little bit.
I love Ace.
I thought he proved himself.
Me too.
On top of just the tournament. I know a lot of people had questions like, oh, it was, he did it in so many weeks. He just got lucky with how it played out. Laura lost before, or no, excuse me, he beat Laura. But Laura beat herself. Ace didn't beat her, et cetera, like that type of stuff.
Cool.
I thought he played very well. We saw what the speed round looked like in the match. Incredible.
Yes.
The only thing that affected him was the betting round. The betting round was the ultimate decider of this match. It threw a wrinkle, and it being the third round in a 5-rounder, smack dab in the middle of everything happening, you can see that everything just shifted.
Mhm.
Everything clearly just shifted after the challenge. The conversation going into the 4th round between Winston and him. It was just a total decider in the match, and it's unfortunate because he played really well in the 4th round. He played really well in the 5th round. He did get a very tough question in the 5th round for his 3-pointer. But I thought he proved himself. I think that he's going to be a very talented and well-involved Star Wars player going forward. And I'm excited about it because he brings a different aspect of the game that some players don't in the league.
I agree 100%. And we said the entire time we were watching this match was we all freaking adore Ace Cabrera. Like we love him in this league. He like we said at the beginning of this stream, he was a play-in match and just absolutely dominated that tournament. And while the championship match didn't go his way, it was a great match. In that, because I think for us, our biggest concern for him was the speed round, but he got everything except for the one question that even Alex got wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and that for us was our biggest concern because we were afraid that he was gonna because even Winston has had to talk to him about don't you need to stop and think about it. But he was just boom, 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 boom. So he 100% deserved to be in that championship match. His wins were not a fluke. It wasn't people losing against him. It was he deserved to be there 100%. And I thought he played a fantastic freaking game, and it was so entertaining. And you could tell that the both of them, at the end of it, you could tell that Ace was a little defeated, but he was still in there and he was still ready to keep fighting. And I respect him so much for that. And I cannot wait to see him back next season.
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah, he's still my Star Wars player of the year.
I think so for me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too, honestly. Alex played one game. Big whoop.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because Ace is right up in there with every other player. There's no Star Wars is so everyone's just on this crazy level, and this year showed it. I mean, the popularity of this specific division is just incredible. I mean, you have a hard time rooting against people when they play because it's just so awesome. And it's I mean, how could you root against someone like Ace? And then you have Alex also, you want to see him keep winning, and it's just fun. And I like that was the first match too, because it was just Star Wars, freaking Star Wars, the most nuts categories and
Frickin' Star Wars.
Yeah. But yeah, like everyone said, Ace has 0 to hang his hat on. I mean, he literally ran the gauntlet in the tournament to get to this point. Win or lose, no one's going to take that away from him at all.
Yeah. I feel like watching. Sorry, Brian.
No, I was done.
I feel like watching Ace play through the tournament was very similar to watching Adam Collins play.
Yes.
And I mean, I just don't think Ace has gotten enough recognition for what he has done compared to maybe an Adam Collins or even Chance. Like, I don't know. He blew everyone's minds, and he's so nice and just like, I don't know. There's nothing bad to say about him, and the way he played in that match was fantastic. And he just got some really hard questions from the wheel, and then I feel like Alex getting Rogue One, which is like one of his very favorite Star Wars movies. I feel like Alex getting that and getting all those questions kind of maybe, I don't know, made him a little sad. And I know Winston came in there and was like, snap out of it, like Winston does. But I don't think he's going anywhere. I hope to see him back. I hope to play him one day, honestly. Like it'll be fun to see him come back and play again next season.
Robert, you got anything?
As far as the Star Wars match, kind of just agree with what we've been saying already. Like Ace definitely came through there like Adam did. I think I was getting Adam and Alex's name backwards earlier too, but like he definitely
too many A's. Too many.
Ace, Alex, Wit.
But that's why I'm going like Ace, because I think Andres is throwing me off also. But he came through like that, just like Adam did in the singles tournament, just completely just demolishing left and right. And it was weird because like I was trying to look at I was thinking about this earlier, the dynamic between how both of them played. They both came into the tournament essentially as like play-in underdogs. We didn't know what they could potentially bring, and they just started demolishing the whole way through. And for a while there, like especially like with Andres, it seemed like a lot of like the fan reactions or people like on the Facebook, everyone was saying that like they constantly are like thinking he's not going to do it. They're counting him out, and he just keeps winning over and over and over again, all the way up to Alex. And then you got Adam, which after like, I guess like probably, I don't know if y'all have an opinion on this, but after like Adam took out Roka, I don't think anyone was really counting out Adam that much in the singles tournament. Everyone was pretty much rooting for him and assumed that he was going to plow through the whole tournament. So there was a weird dynamic there that like everyone kept doubting Ace going through that, but not so much Adam. And then of course, when you get to the end of it and you're going up against a champion, like we were saying, you don't go against Alex Damon at all. Like, so, I mean, I feel like, I know there was a lot of people rooting for Andres on that, for Ace on this, but at the same time, I feel like the same, like, you kind of have to stick with Alex Damon. He's the tried and true. The day we get someone that defeats Alex Damon is going to be a shocker for all of Star Wars.
No pressure, right?
I will also say quickly, just before we move on, that remember when everyone was saying that Ace isn't this great player when he lost to Robert Parker in IG?
I was going to say,
look at that now.
Going from losing in IG, like getting KO'd in IG to becoming this, like if I was him, I don't know if I would have come back, to be honest. Like, but he brushed it off and he was like, that's fine. I'm going to come back into this new league and I'm going to burn it to the ground. And that's exactly what he did.
And clearly Ace thrives on people doubting him. He says it in almost every promo, and like, good for him. It worked.
That Upset City was a great name to grab on that, because that was perfect.
Yeah.
All right, I got a couple Streamlabs I want to read off before we get to our next match here. So this comes from, oh God, where did it go? This comes from Will Watson.
Sorry, I saw Nerd Chronic in the chat. I don't know if he's still here. Thank you for all your work, Nerd Chronic.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. You're God, Eric. You're God.
Yodi for Chronic.
Yodi for Chronic.
I know we could talk about like every single one of the promos that played during this, but like with Eric actually in the chat, I was thinking, good time to mention, the Yodi for Chronic.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think he's done easily like one of the saving graces of this entire season is his editing. So definitely hoping that Yodi award goes his way.
Agreed.
I don't know Christian's still here too, but
especially after he threw up that Jericho one.
Oh,
yes.
Hey, don't give a fuck. We lost it. We lost our minds.
Yeah, I think there we go. He's still here.
Great job. I think that was one of the ones I think I notated that is going to be a part of our reaction clip as well because that was hilarious.
So
funny. That was good.
All right, Will Watson came in with a Streamlabs and said, just want to say what's up to my View crew and Schmoedown family after a fantastic season. We have a fantastic community, and who knows what transformations, in quotations, happen next year. I never thought I'd say it, but I slowly became a corruption fan.
Oh. That's what happens. They corrupt you.
And then where did it go? There's another one. That's for later on. This one came from Kylie. She said, who else was field betrayed from a certain Molly Damon holding back on us? Like, I'm in strong belief she will be drafted by Koi.
Oh,
I mean, would you rather have me spoiled it and not had the amazing reaction?
Not at all.
Yeah.
That was
I
the
would've
best.
Yeah.
Although there were several times where I almost slipped up and I was like, sorry, I'm late. I was studying. You guys would have been like, why are you studying?
Why are you studying?
Yeah.
Studying how to play piano.
Oh. Then I would have been like, what are you learning? Because you lied to us before, Molly.
And just to everyone who put in the Streamlabs, I know that you guys have them in. I'm saving them for when we talk about the specific matches, so just hold tight. But let's go ahead and shift to our next match here, which was a really, really fun match. It was a really great match between Chris Jericho and Brittany Young. One of the two non-title matches that happened, they were split up, and we had this really cool match between a real-life wrestler and one who plays a wrestler on television. So let's just talk about it a little bit. Brittany Young obviously walks away with the W. Really impressive. But Jericho, of course, showing up again, really showing that he's able to hold some movie knowledge as well. Brian, I'll start with you on this one. What did you think of Jericho versus Young?
I adore Brittany Young. I love her so much. And her with Kaiser is like the most amazing thing because she's just like this ray of sunshine in the dungeon. He's like, no, shut the blinds. Like it's too funny. And I mean, it was great. I was laughing a lot during this one. And I mean, I don't think anyone expected any less. But yeah, I would love to see more of her. I mean, she just is just hilarious. I can't say enough good things about her.
She seems to really enjoy it. She posted that picture on Twitter yesterday where she was watching Spectacular Live, her match and everything. So that's pretty cool. Jill, what do you think?
I couldn't agree more with Brian. I think I literally tweeted, I need more Brittany Young in my life, and I effing adored her. And that match was just fun. It was a nice like palate cleanser for all the stressful championship matches we had that day. So, and I also want to note that it's also nice to see Jericho kind of let loose and like have fun. So yes, now he's 0-2. I want to keep seeing him back as well because it's nice just having these. I've said it multiple times. It is just nice having these fun, goofy, not stressful matches that we can all just like really have fun and enjoy. And I'm not like biting my nails and crying and like sitting at the edge of my seat having a panic attack as to what's going to happen next. Like it was so enjoyable and so fun. And I love that this match was included in Spectacular because we definitely needed this little bit of sunshine and happiness. And also hashtag cafe what the fuck. Cafe don't give a fuck. So.
Yeah. And Jericho keeps coming so close.
Well, I want to say that what was the pull the Jamie Kennedy pull he had?
Oh my god!
He knows his stuff.
It's so good. He was like Jamie, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Kennedy. and he's like randomly pulled the name, which was great. Robert, what about you?
So all the humorous side, I agree. Like I wasn't a big wrestling fan. I watched it for a little bit, like in the early 2000s. I'm aware of Chris Jericho, but like not a huge wrestling person anyway. But to see, like, I know enough about him to understand the contrast of how he's acting in these matches that he's played now. I think it's great to see him doing that, to absolutely having fun with it. The other thing I liked about this was Kaiser. Kaiser was having a lot of fun with his like off-camera Brandon Hanna barista thing shit going on. That was like this is Maxwell House, like whatever that was. But it also kind of seemed like it. I don't know if anyone else knows. It kind of looked like Kaiser at one point was kind of like, "Hey, Jericho, would you like to come over to the dungeon next season?" Type thing. It looked like he was kind of like grooming him a bit. Like, hey, we both like classic rock. We both have.
In the dungeon would be pretty rad.
It would.
Yeah.
I could definitely see him being a dungeon head.
Although I kind of hope he sticks with Roxy, just because Alex has joked about it a couple of times, but Alex and Jericho as a team in the team's tournament. How much fun would that be?
I just want to see the promo with Alex and Jericho like next to each other. That alone would be worth the price of admission. Like it.
That actually sounds more like a commercial for like an NBC sitcom.
Right?
He's a wrestler. He's a Star Wars nerd. Okay.
Molly, what about you?
I agree with everything that everyone has said so far. This was such a fun match to watch, and also still impressive. I mean, no one counted either of these players out, I think. And yeah, that Jamie Kennedy poll was hilarious. I was watching it as I was like cooking, and he started to say a couple of different names and kind of mumble, and I was like, oh man, he knows it, but he just can't pull it. And then he pulled it at the very last minute, and I was like, oh damn. I wanted him. I love Brittany Young, and I love that she won, but I also I want to see Jericho win a match, because I need
Poor
that.
Guy, he's just so close.
Yeah,
by 1 point both times.
Yeah, and Brittany Young said like she hopes Christian will have her back. Of course, she should come back. I think everyone would agree.
Fans would be disappointed if she didn't come back.
I'd be sad.
I would.
I'd be sad.
I love her.
Chris.
So my first thought is I would have never guessed, if we were able to print out Schmoedown Spectacular bingo cards, that the friendship that I would give to Jericho and Brittany Young would be a thing that I would mark off on my card. But oh my gosh, can we get a cutscene of them two just having like a dance off at some point? Because I am. Yes. That's kind of like my huge takeaway. Like I loved that match. Just again, like you guys were saying, just Jericho kind of cutting loose a little bit and just having some fun with it. And then obviously like Brittany Young is just such a ray of sunshine. So to be able to like have the contrast of like the hard and stern, I'm the wrestler, I'm coming in here and then but let's have some fun also. And you know, then you've got Roxy and Kaiser as the managers, like trying to be like serious as like managers against each other, and like, you know, Kaiser, whatever rivalry they have together. And then it's just like, okay, but our players are just having so much fun. So what do we do?
I think I might edit a video together of like them having like smiles and all good fun to the tune of the My Buddy commercials from like the 80s.
You're my best friend.
My buddy, kid, sister. I might do that just for fun. I was gonna say something else. Going back to that Jamie Kennedy poll, I think Jericho's way of polling that answer was much better than mine, because he's sitting there going through like all these names, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's that guy from Son of the Mask. Like that was my go-to, was like, why am I polling like one of the worst movies known to man? Jericho's just going through actual names.
I will say that for the idea of putting a Jericho versus Young, and then we'll get to Smith versus Sheridan later, of putting these matches between these big title matches.
Wait, you said Smith versus who?
We'll get to it later. Yes, Smith is first Sheridan at this point during the broadcast. It worked. It worked. It was meant to be a little bit of a relaxer. It was meant to be something that kind of was like a seventh inning stretch in baseball, right? Like a match that's really good, but that you can kind of like hang out and relax in and enjoy without any kind of crazy chaos. Little did we know that the next two matches that happened were going to be the craziest matches, and then the third one, obviously. But yeah, I would really like to see Brittany Young back. I think she impresses me each time I watch her play. She really did well against Jader early on this year. She was actually leading most of that match, and then she just slipped up towards the end of it. And then she gets a W here against Jericho. I obviously want to see Jericho back. He's going to come back. The big question is from what Roxy is saying is that he says, I'm only going to play for her. Will that actually be the case if he gets drafted by someone else? So it's going to be an interesting offseason, but I think that it definitely paid off in having this match there. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And again, seeing Roxy and Kaiser as well kind of go back and forth and seeing a little bit of a relaxed Kaiser in there too, having fun with it. It totally did its job in being placed in the middle of those matches.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the cutscene for Who's the Boss, correct? Leading into the next match?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a Streamlabs for that, and so we can talk about that right now. So this comes from Canada Rocks. He says, what an awesome show yesterday with all the great stuff that happened. No one is even talking about the breakup of Who's the Boss. Do you think we will see Riley versus Bateman in the first quarter of 2021? I will say that I think the reason people may not be talking about it is because it was expected. I think we all went into this knowing that Who's the Boss wasn't going to be a thing anymore. But little did I know, I was very surprised with how it went down. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you see Riley pop on screen, you see Bateman on screen, then you're like, okay, I now see what's going to happen. But I never expected it to happen that way. And it sure seems like we are now officially getting full heel Bateman returning, possibly even more heel than he's ever been.
Bless.
Mm.
Bless.
I loved these little.
Yes.
I loved the little cutouts. I honestly expected like little halftime TikToks from Abby. That's kind of what I was hoping for, but these worked out just as well too.
That would have been great.
I know. Can you imagine? That would have been perfect. But yeah, I agree with Jake. I think it's the least talked about one because it was more like expected. Yeah. I think for them to not be together, how it went down, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with that. Who's Riley going to be with? Who's Bateman going to be with?
I have thoughts.
I do. Go ahead.
Put him out there, Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
It's kind of touching on something that we'll obviously get to by the end of this, but you no longer have Riley teamed up with Bateman, which means he's free to be picked up and put on a team with anybody. Well, there's also one other member of the Fence Stock Exchange who is now no longer without a partner.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking.
I'm thinking there could be like a reuniting of team champs.
Yeah, from back in the day.
Dan and Riley back together.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't even think about that.
Season
that
2
would be huge.
Season 2. Yeah.
Interesting.
That is interesting. See, what I got from that, because I think I actually commented on it when we watched it, was that I don't know if it's just a coincidence or was Ben's laugh very reminiscent of Andrew Guy's laugh?
Sort of. I think they kind of carried like the same laughter when they were together before. They both had the same kind of laugh together.
Because for me, I was like, I don't know if it's just me trying to really will a team action reunion, but I was like, please let that be a hint that y'all are going to be back together. Because
that's definitely happening at some point.
It
Yeah,
needs to. I would literally
it will
team action to get back together. Like that is my goal, is to just get team action back. So any little hinting of a team action reunion, I get way too overly excited. But yeah, I agree with everyone here. I think that just Riley and Bateman not being a team anymore was pretty expected. Just not the complete heel turn that we saw of Ben Bateman. That was the big surprise, I think.
Yeah, I think he's going to go more heel than he ever has.
Me too.
I really do.
Yeah.
This year didn't go at all how he planned, like at all. Like it nothing happened in the way he wanted it to, and I feel like that's going to fuel a very big heel turn for him going forward.
Yeah, I mean, he plays a heel really well, and
even when he was a face, he wasn't really like a face.
Every time I see him, I always think of what Andreyko says is, "You have the most punchable face I've ever seen." And like, God, and the thought of seeing him and Guy again is just chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel like it's coming because you're looking at Bateman, like you were saying, when he was a face, he was barely even a face. It just felt like he was taking hits from people who were heels, like towards him. And he was just kind of storing them away for another day to bring them out now at this point, and he's just gonna unleash. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
that's what I said. I guarantee we're going to see team action back. I think what they're doing though is they're really trying to figure out a creative way, because you just can't throw them back together. And go, well, team action's back together, and we're all like,
there needs to be something.
I mean, I feel like they're. I feel like maybe they're waiting and hoping that they can do something like that live, that to happen live.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Can you imagine? Oh my god,
the roof would be blown off that place.
They're going to try to recreate the reveal of Dan Murrell as a horseman. They're going to try to do something like that. They're going to try to top that as much as they can.
I was there for that.
and it was years ago, and it's still yet to be topped in any kind of live fashion. It was the biggest thing that the Schmoedown has ever done. The fact that Dan Murrell had joined the Horsemen in the way it did. They're going to do whatever they possibly can to try to do it that way. And it's going to be crazy. If it's in a live event fashion, I mean, C2A is going to lose their effing minds.
Yeah. That's the thing to always point out. Like, I know some people are like, oh, we didn't need to see team action. Like, team action is not that great. Team action is the only ones in the Schmoedown that had a fan after show reactor created solely based around them. Like, everyone else who does like after show reactions are, for the most part, they're just general Schmoedown. We all just like Schmoedown. We do after shows. They were like started off solely about team action. So yeah, the effect that they have on that, I definitely feel like they're going to bring them back.
Yeah, it's whenever it does happen, it's going to be absolute chaos. All right, let's go and shift gears here. Let's get to the third of the 6 matches, which is, to me, the most heartbreaking match of the event. And that is the team's title match between Shazam and the Odd Couple. And it's nothing against the Odd Couple, but my goodness, just what a heartbreaking ending to this match for Shazam, William Bibiani, and Brendan Meyer. Jeff Snyder and Mark Andreyko getting those belts back. 2020, as bad as it's been elsewhere, the Odd Couple crushed it this year. They did really, really well in almost every form that they played in. Jeff Snyder obviously doing really well in the singles tournament. And then Odd Couple winning the team's tournament and now winning the team's belt back. Jill, I'll start with you on this one. Odd Couple taking the title back, getting that belt back for the Rock Stars and themselves. What do you think of this match?
This one was an interesting match for me. It's kind of one of those things where it was a championship match. It really came down to the round 5 questions. Snyder surprised me with his performance in that speed round. I think all of us were completely shocked. He got 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went 1 for 5. Yeah,
completely shocked by that. But
and he was given an opportunity for another one, and he still missed.
And he still missed, and that for us was a shocker. And then for Shazam to miss their 2 and their 5 was a shocker. There was a lot of ups and downs in this match. I was rooting for Shazam. No disrespect against the Odd Couple, though, because we've talked about it. They've been absolutely killing it this season. This season, they played better this season than they did the first time they won the team's belt. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you. Come after the writing team. I will come after you. So this was, and I said it on Twitter, if this match doesn't affirm Jeff Snyder on your Mount Schmoedown or your Hall of Fame or whatever you want to call it, I don't know what does.
He's at least, like, whatever we think about Hall of Fame or Mount, he's at least top 5 player of all time.
100%.
I hate Mount Rushmore.
I do too. I also
comparison.
hate it. I personally call it like my Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just what I mean. Yeah, we don't need to be swapping 4 players in and out every time. Just make a Hall of
Yeah.
Fame, the best of all
Exactly.
time. Yeah,
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's how.
So that's my thoughts on this. Is it was disappointing just because seeing, and I tweeted this in my reactions too, was that seeing Brendan coming into the match with the belt on his shoulder, being so happy and excited to be there, and then for it to not go his way in the end was a little bit heartbreaking. But again, no disrespect to the Odd Couple, they had a freaking brilliant season, and they pulled it out in the championship win, and now they have their belts back, and it's going to be fun seeing them as a team again, because we all know that Roxy's going to keep the Odd Couple. Are you kidding me? Like, I think Roxy not keeping the Odd Couple next season would be one of the biggest stories of all time. So I'm just going to confidently assume they're still going to be with Roxy next season. So be excited to see how they go about with trying to keep their belts in season 8 in this.
it's gonna be. Knowing that we might not see teams for at least a little while, that could be very interesting. So, Robert, Odd Couple, Shazam.
There's the thing, like I was so torn between that because I love Bibbs so much, but the other thing is Jeff Snyder he's really embraced the fan community lately.
Yeah.
He's wanting to talk to everybody. He's a great personality, great person to be talking to, and so he really had me like rooting for him as well. So like completely torn on that. I like the way it went. Like I'm very happy to see Odd Couple get that, especially for Snyder to get that belt for the 3rd time now. Yeah, I think that was perfect. I think some of those questions were really hard, but I mean, it was like the 5-pointer question, the nicknames.
The Edge of Tomorrow question, yeah.
Wow. Because I was trying to remember what they were myself, and I was like, I don't know. It's one of those, like, when you get to that 5-pointer question, it's great if you happen to know it yourself. That way, if they're able to say it or not, in that like little instance whether or not they won before you hear Christian do the "and your winner" or however he does it.
That type of question, the Edge of Tomorrow question, you have to know that movie very well to know that nickname. It's not a nickname that would ever come across your mind if you don't know that movie very well. Like what they were going, with like Prodigy or whatever they were going with. It made no sense with what the nicknames were in the movie. It's unfortunate, it's unfortunate.
Was it Angel of Verdun or Full Metal Bitch?
Full Metal Bitch. Yep, Full Metal Bitch. You would never think of that. You would just never think of that.
Can I just add, if they ever add a Disney League, that's going to be my nickname. Full Metal Bitch.
Jill. Full Metal Bitch.
Good luck with that one.
Coming in the Disney League with my Tangled dress on. Julia, a Full Metal Bitch.
Molly, what do you think of this one?
This one was hard to watch, but also very exciting. It shows once again like how well everyone in these teams like even each other out. Like Shazam, they're just such a great team together. The Odd Couple, of course, legendary. I was not sure what was going to happen the whole time, and then Snyder did the speed round, and I was like, oh no, like I thought that was going to be it. And then that last round happened, and it was hard to watch because I was so excited for Shazam to get the belt, and they didn't have it for very long.
I know.
Yeah,
but
it broke me.
Yeah, but like everyone said, the Odd Couple, some of the best players we've ever seen, some of the best teams stuff that we've ever seen, and it was precious to see Jericho break down.
Yeah.
After it finally sank in.
Yeah.
I was happy for them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to root, even though you want one of the teams to win. It's hard to root against either of them after this year. The way that the Odd Couple kind of played throughout this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Chris.
So many thoughts on this match, honestly. There's so much going into it. I mean, obviously, like longtime fans of Bibbs and Brendan, I have been known to say that the second they came together, I was like, these guys are going to get a belt. They're going to have a belt. I would have loved to see them get a defense, at least one defense in. Would have been great. But on the flip side, I'm looking at Jeff and Draco, and obviously they're definitely a championship level team, but they to see them get like so beaten up in that match, it just kind of hurt. Like, and it brings me to like one of the things that we've even told Jeff on our show, which is I feel like there's very few manager team combos in this league that are as strong together as Roxy is with them. And I think, I mean, you probably could actually say the same to a degree for Shazam with Koi, but it's just so very present whenever you see Odd Couple on screen, because you'll see Jeff, or you'll see, like, even with this match, them just so out of it, just so beat up over that speed round. And then Roxy going, stop, get focused, come on, get back in the game. You're not done yet. You guys can actually win. And then they go on to hit all three of their final questions. I see some talk, and obviously I'm not going to call names out here, but I see some talk of saying like they didn't deserve the win. And I think that's kind of a ridiculous statement, honestly, because they had more points than Shazam at the end of the match.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, like, Shazam didn't hit their last question, which they could have won with. But that's the game. You have to hit the questions that you need to hit in order to win. And if you don't hit those, the other team will have more points than you, and they will have deserved the win.
Yep.
I think at the end of the day, I mean, you had two championship level teams, and the one that deserved to win did actually end up winning for the games that was played that day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mr. Brian.
This was just a tough match to watch. Like, I felt like I was literally like watching like punch for punch, and literally they had like, you know, those memes that are like, it's Simba and he's like, no, don't get up. Like, it was just, you're just like, gosh darn it. Like, this is rough, like, on both sides. And so, this was one of the more difficult matches to watch, but it was, and not in a bad way. I'm not saying it in a bad way at all. It's just like, man, this thing was just a nail biter and just clawed out from the get-go. So, yeah,
it was a heartbreaker. I mean, and you know, Molly, Jill, and Brian saw how much it hurt me when I saw Shazam lose the way they lost.
The heartbreak.
Jake had a time with that one.
Jake had to take a moment.
Shazam is arguably my favorite team, and Bibbs is arguably my favorite player. And Brendan is very high up there too, just the way he approaches the game and everything. I love Koi as a manager, and I had picked the Mercs to win the faction title at the beginning of the year, and I stuck with them all year. So seeing them at the very end of Spectacular was great, and I also wanted to see it end differently just because the way they lost last year Spectacular.
Yeah.
It would have been a really nice turnaround, seeing them, you know, win the title, even though they already had it, but defend the title at Spectacular after last year. But I'll give credit to where credit is due. The Odd Couple came in and they just looked great. It just looked really, really good for the last couple weeks or months whenever it was recorded. The way they played in that team's tournament was incredible. They had their ups and downs, but they always seemed to find a way to win. Same happened here. We talked about the speed round, but we also keep in mind the betting round. They got a really simple question, but Shazam bet 3, they bet 1. That could have easily affected them. And that could have easily shook them a lot more than it did. Then it followed by the speed round. Any other team probably would have lost their mind if that happened. Mm-hmm. You know, a bad betting round and then a very bad speed round. I mean, they were down by 6 going into the final round, and they ended up winning. It hardly happens at Spectacular. We've seen it a number of times over the last couple of years, but it really does hardly happen. So it was definitely a little bit of a bummer. But I do have 2 Streamlabs that relate to this match, so I want to bring them up here. And this one came from Canada Rocks. And he says, I am happy for Odd Couple's win. but they got 100% outplayed and only won to a lucky break on the final round questions and Roxy's sheer force of will. So I will still be voting for Shazam as Team of the Year. Do you guys agree that Shazam is still Team of the Year? I at this point, after yesterday, I would give it to the Odd Couple.
I think I would. Yeah, I think I would.
And it sucks to say, but I'd give it to the Odd Couple.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah. Not that Shazam hasn't had an amazing season. They clearly have. They were the champions. But for me, Odd Couple definitely proved why they're one of the greatest teams of all time. It's
I mean, they won the belt. They've won the belt twice. Like that's
twice. So I'd still give it to the Odd Couple personally.
It's for sure a toss up between those two teams, I think, and then you got like Final Exam is maybe in third, but
I have Final Exam in the conversation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I probably would at this point edge out Odd Couple just because I think the pathway for them to get to the belt was maybe a little bit harder or a little especially because there was like an actual tournament involved than it was necessarily for Shazam, despite the fact that Shazam had to go through some like pretty solid opponents to try to get the belts to begin with. It was less on them though, because it wasn't like an official actual tournament than it was where you had Odd Couple having to fight through like the best of the best in teams in order to get to those belts. So probably edge out Odd Couple on that one for sure.
I'd probably agree with the Odd Couple, only also much because of can't talk because of Roxy. Roxy has really done a good job of showing how good of a manager she could be, like in the moment of the matches. She's done multiple times getting her competitors like their headspace back, get them back in the game when it's so easy to just like count yourself out, kind of like what it looked like the Odd Couple were going through in this. Even after Roxy's pep talk, you saw them, they're like, yeah, we're still here, but you could feel like that they felt defeated on there. But Roxy's ability to kind of help push and still get them to a win is, I think that's really important. And not that the other managers don't do that. Say like in the case of Shazam, we do see like Koi interact with them, but I don't see, and it's completely based on how the managers, I guess, interact with their players. But like I saw more of like Roxy really trying to reach him on an emotional level in the middle of that game in that precise moment. I don't think I've seen any of the other managers do that. And I think that's
it work.
Shannon a little bit.
Yeah. And it worked. Like we've seen it happen, but how many times has that actually worked with someone like Jeff Snyder?
Yeah. She's the Snyder whisperer. Like that's what she is. It's like,
I mean, I think that's the move that you see with your top three manager of the year contenders. Now I'm putting Roxy into that conversation, but with Shannon and Winston also, all three of them just do such a great job about getting their players back in the game and focused again.
Yeah.
And you can even say, I mean, and this is just me, but Koi as well. You know,
Koi
coming in, and I know he's not. I would say he's probably not in the conversation for Man of the Year just because his team didn't do as well as they probably could have. But we saw many times before how he did as well on screen with his players too. All right, this one comes from Tim Sim, and he says, "Who deserves overall Player of the Year, Adam Collins or Jeff Snyder?"
Adam Collins, in my opinion.
I would say so because he is an undefeated rookie who took the belt from Dan Murrell at Spectacular.
Yeah.
Who was not even
and
drafted.
he ran through a singles tournament.
Yeah.
Not drafted.
And
you're
over
right.
tournament.
Good point, Brian. Good point.
Oh, you're talking about Adam Collins.
Yes.
But I do think it's closer than what we're saying. I do think it's closer than because
I do too.
Snyder just won the belt for a team's belt for the third time. That's big.
Yeah.
That's big. He is the greatest teams player to ever live. Period. Point blank. No question.
Yeah.
He went to the final of the singles tournament. Great. He also beat Adam Collins' team. There's another thing for him. But what Adam Collins did has never been done before.
I think the thing that breaks this too is the fact that Adam beat Snyder.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, they have a head-to-head factor. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could say, oh, but he beat Adam in teams. Well, it's teams. You have someone else. They went head to head, and Snyder lost to it. And that's not diminishing Snyder at all. But there's only one other person that has had a run like Adam did, and that's Paul. And it's going to be really hard. There were just so many factors to put with Adam. Wasn't drafted.
Yeah.
The people he played in his singles tournament, incredible.
Champions.
Former champions.
Coming from a play-in.
Coming from a play-in. He won the horror free for all. It's just like there's just tack after tack after tack, and it just keeps going. And I mean, if you really need to put those two head to head, one of them just did actually beat the other. So yeah, but it's a tough one.
Yeah.
I can see that for like Snyder, because Snyder he set himself in the spectacular. Teams is his house.
Yeah.
That's where he lives and thrives. Adam Collins had to go through. He played like 6 matches overall, but I mean, look how big that singles tournament was compared to the teams tournament. That thing was huge, and he fought all the way through it. Yeah, I would say Collins easily.
Yeah.
That's big too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a KO. Yeah.
Everyone was worried about that match.
In a row, did he not?
Yeah. He didn't get one against Brendan.
And Molly, I think you were about to say everyone was worried about that match for the opposite side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that.
But yeah, I completely forgot about all of his KOs.
Yeah.
Like
3.
just to really nail it in.
All right, let's go ahead and get to another title match here, and that is the Inner Geekdom match between Chandru Dandapani against Ellison. Yes, Chandru did win his belt back. He defended his belt. He is officially the Inner Geekdom champion of 2020 and going forward.
I don't have enough whiskey for this.
And I know that sooner rather than later, we will be seeing him defend that belt against one Mara Knopic, who, if you just joined the show, we had on earlier. You can check her out. She talked a lot about that, which was great. But look, Chance played incredible in the Inner Geekdom tournament. Yep. He played shockingly well, better than anybody expected him to be. I think that we could say that Inner Geekdom looks like a division for him going forward because of how he played. And I know that I was one of the very few, the only one on POV here that actually said that Chandru was probably going to win. And I'm not trying to rub it out. I'm just saying, like, Chandru proved himself. Like, to me, as much as I don't like the antics and I don't like how and I'll say it flat out, I think that the whole hair thing and the dancing thing was obnoxious. It was terrible. Like, it was just bad. He was literally dancing with the belt. He looked like he was humping the belt, and it just did not look well. It didn't.
I feel like someone else did that at one point.
Okay, I will say Sean Sullivan mentioned this, and he said, "Remember when Josh McCouga got punished for doing? How is this any different? Exactly. I'm gonna throw that out there too. Anyway, continue.
I'm just gonna say that as far as player goes, if I'm taking out the personality and whatever may be, he proved himself as an IG player. Yeah. Chance looked like he just stumbled a little bit, but it's no knock to Chance. I do think that Chandru was he's just a little bit more of a developed player in IG, and that's just how it happened. Does anybody else want to talk about this match?
I'm going to quote the amazing Miss Rachel Cushing and say, "I will not speak his name. I do not respect the disrespectful."
Fair enough. Anybody else?
This was an interesting match to see, just because maybe I'm just used to the Star Wars matches, but like even the first round, I think Chance only had like 5 points, something like that, going into round 2, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, he had a hill to climb from the beginning.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, Chandru definitely knows his stuff.
Yeah,
I mean. But I mean, do we really need an explanation for every right answer that he gives when he knows he's right and he knows?
Well, it just comes
wrong.
off. It just comes off incredibly cocky.
It's cocky.
Like in the middle of the match, like I understand maybe before or after, but in the middle of the match, when your opponent is kind of like struggling, that's not something you do, you know. And I think that's why people don't like him so much.
Yeah.
Picking up the belt before the match is even over.
Yeah.
Like and what would have happened if Chance hit that question? Then you look like a damn fool, sir. Put that belt down.
I mean, like I said earlier about Ace kind of thriving off of people not really believing in him. I think Chandru seems to thrive off of people thinking that he is just the worst. Which, if it helps him, you know, good for him.
And this is something that only just recently happened too. Like Chandru was pretty well loved by a lot of people until that one clip of him. Like all of a sudden he went from that like smiley, playful dancing, and then he just like dead-eyed looked at Smets in that clip. You're like, whoa, who's this guy? Where'd the guy who's flossing his way in? Where did he go? And that's where like I guess it's just been a complete like heel turn into that.
I hold to it that if it was against anybody else, we would probably still appreciate Chandru to some degree. But it's the fact that it was against Smeds that really kind of did it in for him there.
Yeah.
If he turns against Brandon Hanna, like okay, cool, we're rooting for Chandru, go for it. But like against Smets, like Smets is just so well loved. I mean, sorry, but you don't do that.
Just a Schmoedown equivalent of a yo mama joke. You don't talk about my mama like that. No.
Yeah. I think honestly, like it's true. I mean, this definitely solidifies him as like a very dangerous IG player. He knows his stuff. He knows how to play the game. Got it. I do hate that he defended Smets and Mara's belt though.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yep.
I mean, it's going back to Mara very soon, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
Well, Mara's never held that specific belt.
Exactly.
It's still hers over his anyway.
It's the idea of the belt.
I think it's anybody else's at this point over Changers. I mean,
It's the title.
Well, I think I could say that we can all move on, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so let's go and shift into, and I'm not missing any clip outs, right? Any cuts? Are there any important cuts at this point that I'm missing? After the teams match or after the IG? Oh, I guess the Mara one, which we already talked about.
Mara, yeah.
The IG one. Okay, cool. Just making sure. So that leads us to one of the non-title matches between Kevin Smith and Brett Sheridan. But lo and behold, which we all might have guessed, it wasn't Brett Sheridan, but it was Flirt and Flaus. So Flirt and Flaus made his return and his first ever appearance inside the Schmoedown. And I do want to get into Streamlabs because we actually did a question about Flirt and Flaus, and Mr. Johnny 5 for Life did a very generous donation, and he said the following: "Hello everyone, watch your show all the time, love it. My highlight of Spectacular was the return of the Flaus. Nerdtronic put an amazing promo together for that match. I had tears in my eyes from laughing.
Yes.
Entrance from the match, I fell on the floor." I can definitely agree. Brett did an absolutely incredible job entertaining in this match. I think we all expected Kevin Smith to win. We expected Brett to put up some kind of fight, but he was definitely there for more of the entertainment value, and it absolutely paid off.
Oh God, I can only imagine.
Oh my God, I know that's how fast that was.
That was so good.
It's funny because this was my match that I was least looking forward to, just because of like the stakes and of everything else that's happening and stuff. I'm the complete opposite now. This was one of my favorites. Just out of, like,
oh, refund! I know. I'm sorry.
I know. We were literally the whole entire time we were talking about you, refund. Just like
we were wondering what Reefton thinks about this.
Yeah. But God, this match was hilarious. It was so funny from the second Brett stepped on to the end. And yeah, oh my god, my sides were hurting at the end of this one.
I loved, and like Johnny had said in the comment, the promo was incredible. I loved when the second you turn the razor on, you saw this like club music and the
He's
lights,
at the light.
and it just totally shifted, and as the Flirt and Flaus completely took over.
We all started dancing. We were like, yeah.
It was so good. It was so good.
This was a really fun match for me to see because, and maybe I'm the last to know about this character, but I didn't know. I had never seen Brett do this character before. I had heard rumblings about it. I've heard the name before. I don't know how long it's been around, but this was the first time of me seeing it, and I was glued to the screen. I was just like, this is silly, and but I kind of love it. I didn't know what to think. I mean, yes. Exactly. He went all in, and he stayed in character the whole time. Just man.
I wonder if Reefton doesn't like him because he's not German, or he doesn't like him because he's so spot on.
Is he so German?
Yeah, he's so German
Okay.
that he doesn't like him.
Oh, man. And also seeing Kevin Smith react to that character was hilarious.
And I loved how he kept saying, "Our special guest, the Flaus. Our special guest, the Flaus."
Are we all taking bets on the Flirt and Flaus being in the next Kevin Smith film?
Yes.
Oh yeah. 100%.
That would be, and the fact that Brent is actually an actor. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yes.
I like, because you know Kevin Smith does those like crazy movies, and you think, who the f is this guy?
I want to see him. I want to see him with the glasses on, the scarf, everything.
Yeah.
Just everything.
At one point in the match, they said that the Flaus was going to be over there singing Berserker, and I was like, yes, that would have been. That's going to be awesome because Rachel Silvestrini was watching that, going, oh yeah, definitely.
Chris and Robert match, the Flirt and Flaus, everything.
This match gave me life.
Especially at like 2 a.m. for you guys.
It was about 2:33 by the time we got to this. So yeah, it was a nice like
just a little club music popping up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because so I watch SCN live pretty much daily. So I'm caught up on the Flirt and Flaus from like when Christian and Brett just lost their minds halfway through this year. And I don't blame him, but
and it went trending on Twitter too. That was
and they got him trending. I think one of the things is that I think that it was to be expected that it was going to be Flaus in this, because I know like even early in this year when they were doing it on SCN Live, they were talking about like, oh, we should have Flaus come in, maybe at Spectacular, maybe he'll go up against Warfather, or he'll go up against, I don't know. Wouldn't it be funny if he went up against Kevin Smith? That'd be hilarious, kind of a thing. And then I know, like, he was calling out that the idea is that has anybody actually seen Brett's hair lately? No, he's only been wearing hats on SCN Live.
Like, exactly.
And like as soon as he said the next SCN Live I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, I definitely should at least see some kind of hair poking out from underneath that hat. We're definitely getting Flaus at Spectacular, and that was that. I was just ready for it. I was like, oh, bring it! I'm so ready for this match. It was hilarious. I think getting Flaus in a Kevin Smith movie might be like one of the best possible outcomes from that match for sure. And I love how much that Kevin Smith was just playing into it like that. He is so game for almost
he
anything.
totally understands.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
He dug it. He totally dug it.
I was wondering, are we going to get Kevin Smith in here going, I don't like, he'll play it for the camera, but afterwards, like, what am I doing? What is this?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, no, Kevin Smith's like, this is some goofy stuff. I'm all for it. Just put me in the goofy.
He was all about it.
Actually baked like he said he was.
Now I want Kevin Smith to do a match as Silent Bob and just write all of his answers.
Yes.
Can we mention that Kevin Smith forgot that he needed a writing utensil?
That was so great.
Hilarious. Smiling and like just waiting, and he's like, "Oh wait, I need to write it." That was
So
great.
good.
Then they called him out on it later on when he was talking about extra writing patterns. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
on that when he was in the promo when he's like 999, so much 9 it's almost a 10. Like lost it during that. What do they call beef in Germany? Boof.
Yeah.
My takeaway from this one is, as someone who has watched wrestling and was like obsessed with wrestling, I love seeing these absolutely outrageous characters, and I wish we had more of them. Because like the only ones we really have are Flirt and Flaus and Tom. Like these really outlandish, like real characters, you know, not like the norm. They're really effing out there. And
I would say Lon is a contender
Lon too,
for having
Lon is definitely in there.
Video
really great
Drew?
character work. Yeah.
Video Drew, I feel like that's also kind of like who she is. Like,
Yeah.
So, but also Video Drew, Warfather.
Well, this is funny. It's
So,
just beef.
I want more of those like really out there characters. I don't want everyone to do that, like obviously, because that would just be a lot. But like I love it. I know there's a lot of people who don't. They're like, oh my gosh, this is really stupid and cheesy. But like, inject that into me, please, because I love seeing these really freaking crazy characters.
Well, there's our
I mean,
answer right there. They
Yeah.
are. They just are.
And also, Guy is not to me. Guy is not like a goofy character. I'm talking like a theatrical, like someone like Tom.
Well,
someone,
this season.
Like Mick Foley in wrestling.
Foley, yeah, exactly, like a Mick Foley, like a I can't name people right now because thoughts. But
Andy Kaufman.
Yeah. So
Reton is just boiling right now.
I know. Sorry.
All right. So before we get to the big main event here in just a second, which we will be, we got to talk about the massive cutscene that happened. The big cutscene that happened after this match in the post game, where Kate kicked off and fired Grace from the den.
Which Christian seems more than happy about doing.
Well, yes, yeah, and that's fine, but he's playing along with it.
I'm kidding.
And then Kate cut the accent.
It's tradition that she has to be fired from being a manager.
That's right. Yeah, last year's spectacular. But then obviously the big thing with Kate, where she cut the accent and she's getting all serious now. She's lost steam, and the den is going to be a totally new thing going forward with just her in charge, not having to run through things in Grace or anything like that. This could have big implications because if Kate, now that she has a year under her belt, she understands the game as a manager. It could become a big deal going forward, and depending on how she drafts, she could become a big contender next year. Because look, the first 6 months of the year, the Den was considered one of the best teams out there. They were doing really well
the whole season.
Yeah, they were doing really well. And that was with a rookie manager and a co-manager who barely kind of did anything. But if now that she has that experience, it could be very different going forward. So what does everybody think about the Den going forward, the firing of Grace, just all of that happened in that cutscene? Jill, why don't you start?
I feel like my parents divorced. I really though, as soon as Kate dropped the accent, I was like, oh, yes, like just her getting angry and super into it. I was like, give me more. I am gonna miss the fanny pack though, because I thought it was fun seeing what surprise was gonna be in the fanny pack for every episode. But I love how she's has kicked into gear, and he lost his damn mind and he absolutely loved it. He was like, yes, like give it to me. Like, he absolutely loved it. He, as soon as she like flipped the switch, he was like, yes, Mama Kate, yes. So we are very thrilled with this new Kate that we have got. What is gonna happen to Grace? I do not know. But Mama Kate has taken over the Den. So we'll see what happens next season.
Chris, what about you?
I feel like the writing was out there on this already. Like the second that the Den started its decline from where it was at the beginning of the year, it was kind of like knowing Grace's character from seasons past, there's no way she's going to stick around if she's a part of a team that is not like in the upper echelon is winning or anything. That's just Grace's character. And then to see Kate spin around and be like, yeah, you know what? No, you're done. You're out. Like that. That I think was like super. It was huge. This is one of those situations, though. Honestly, like because I was thinking about this, is it's one of those things where you could lean back into the what if storyline, because I think if the Den was a winning faction this year, if like it was on top by the end of the season, do we still see Grace and Kate back together next season? Is Kate keeping up the Chicago accent next season? That's one of those like what would have happened if situations. I don't know. I'm just excited to see like Kate double down, because I know one of the thoughts was how, because she was portraying a character, how into this is Kate? Is she going to want to be a manager again next season, or was she just kind of filling in a gap this season? No, she's doubling down, and I'm super thrilled to see that, because she's such a great personality and just a great personality for this league as well. So excited.
Molly?
I love Kate, and it was so bizarre to see her drop the accent and just to, like to get real for a second. I was just like, oh. She seems actually angry.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is, like Jill said, it's like parents fighting. I don't know, like I feel like Ken kind of retiring, getting out of the game, I was like, okay, I'm not super surprised to see Grace also kind of find her way out of the game, but I also love Grace, and I hope she's not gone forever.
Me too.
Yeah, because I think she is fantastic, and I love her energy, and I want to see her back in some capacity. But this is very exciting for the Den. Yeah, I'm really excited for what Kate has in store for next season.
Yeah.
Brian?
Yeah, it's interesting that we're going to see a whole different character or attitude person than what we're used to with Kate. I agree with Molly. I'm kind of bummed that we're not going to see Grace probably as much, but I have a feeling she'll pop up here and there in some capacity. Not like a role like where you expect to see her all the time, but like I'm sure she'll be around if need be for something. But yeah, I didn't expect that to go down. I mean, so that was quite a surprise.
So many storylines to talk about.
It was so nice to see stories.
Yes.
Like, it was so fun.
And it took them all year, but they found a way to do it digitally, which is okay.
Yes.
And it works really well.
I will add just one tiny comment that I am kind of slightly disappointed in, is that with how we saw Kate, if she's going to continue that character, all the female managers are heels.
Oh.
Now, and that I'm not a huge fan of. I want to see a little bit of variety. I don't want all of the female managers to be the villains.
Is Roxy considered a heel?
She's the way she talks to her competitors. I always mark her as a heel.
Yeah,
I don't know if she's like slated as a heel, but to me,
I would just say up against Shannon, she's considered like so nice and sweet.
I would not see. Okay, now here's the thing. I would not consider Kate a heel.
I wouldn't either yet. I don't know if I would either yet, but just the way she was
just driven.
After, I think it was more just like fired up type.
Yeah,
I hope that's the case.
Grace.
I hope.
Yeah, it was definitely more so just towards Grace. I agree with what you said, Robert.
Okay. I hope that is the case, because I don't want all the female managers to be heels.
Yeah, it's true. I think out of the two of them, Grace was always the heel that was holding the Den down to heel status, and Kate didn't necessarily exude that herself. So there's a possibility that she's just like motivated and fired up and driven, and that's just, but still full on face. So,
Robert, what about you on this?
So I will say, like, I absolutely love Kate. Kate was one of those that we've talked to her when we've gotten to meet her, got to know her like over the past year or so, interactions with her. She is just a fantastic person to talk to.
Yeah.
And I love seeing this, like the complete drop of the character, because essentially Kate came in at Spectacular last year, kind of playing it like she doesn't know Schmoedown, and that's why Grace is on, because Grace knows Schmoedown, so she's kind of helping out. And now here at this Spectacular, we've got Kate is like, yeah, no, I know what I'm doing. I don't need you. You don't add anything to the conversation anyways. Just get out of here. I'm going to revamp like my whole entire faction, and we're going to do something awesome and amazing. With that being said, I will also say Cinefanatics absolutely love Kate. And if she's in the process of rebuilding her team, we'll talk.
I may or may not have her number.
Oh yeah, I've messaged her a couple of times. So.
All right, let's get to the big one. I know we've already talked about it since we did have Adam on earlier, but let's just kind of discuss a little bit more, and we can even filter in what happened afterwards with this, and kind of do one big combo, because we know that Adam Collins, he continued his run. He took out Dan Merle in overtime, 7 rounds of overtime. And so he takes that title back, or not back, but into 2021, excuse me. And he is currently the singles champion. Dan Merle goes back to the drawing board. But lo and behold, we did not know that it would be a completely blank drawing board. He has essentially been shut out from the FinSoc exchange. He has been turned on by his partner, John Roca.
Yay!
And he has been turned on by his manager in Bobby Gucci. I know that most of us are like, okay, like this is what we want to see. Heel John Roca, more so than ever, heel John Roca is officially back. Bobby Gucci seems to be listening to John Roca at this point. And Dan Merle is a free agent and could be the number 1 pick in the draft, which means he would not be a keeper. And that is insane to think about. So thoughts, open conversation, I'll shoot it to Molly. Why don't you start this off?
This was insane. Like by the end of the night, at this point, I mean, I was just like, what is happening? Are we talking about the match or just the
all of the above?
You can start with the match and then kind of filter in a little bit to.
I mean, we did do a good handful of the match with Adam.
Yeah, I mean the match went pretty much exactly how I thought it would. Overtime, just
that speed round. Oh my god!
Oof, yes,
20 for 20. Holy Jesus,
God.
That was insane.
Punch for punch. That was us witnessing 2 phenomenal players that will go down in history. I mean, Dan's already there,
Yes.
but Collins is well on his way. And as for heel Roca, I'm here for it. I love heel Roca. It's probably my favorite Roca.
Same.
Yep. Yep.
Interesting question here for Tim Sim. What are the odds Kaiser will pull the trigger on Dan as the first pick in the draft?
That for me is what I'm.
Kaiser doesn't have the first pick though. That's usual suspects.
I thought it was suspects.
If Tim says it, I'm gonna believe Tim, to be honest.
I could have sworn it was suspects.
It might be suspect. I'm not sure.
Because Dungeon got points from this.
Dungeon got points from
this map from whatever the hell this.
We should put suspects in last place right now.
Kaiser, but was there a trade in the season that swapped picks? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, maybe.
That's what Christian brought up earlier.
You know what it is? It was the pick from last year.
Yeah.
Remember the Burning Droogs pick?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what Christian brought up earlier, right?
Yes.
Holy son of a...
Kaiser has the first pick.
Welcome to the dungeon, Dan Merle.
Oh my god.
So does Kaiser have the first pick because of that Burning Droogs deal? Because
wasn't there
that deal...
a trade? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a trade last year where Kaiser jumped up early in the second round?
Yeah, like they traded a slot, a pick slot instead of an actual person.
Say anything made with the Droogs is now null and void. Does that count?
Yeah.
That?
Yes, but I'm wondering what and Tim, you're gonna have to clarify this for us because we're wondering where that pick came from, Kaiser, because we thought that it was to Sam.
I mean, we also have to keep in mind he's more than likely going to be grabbed as a free agent.
Not necessarily.
Gonna be signed.
I mean, he could be,
you
but
don't think that someone's going to sign him?
He could go in the draft and be like,
Someone make me an offer.
yeah. I mean,
He has
look, at this point, if we
I think that would be fun for
Kaiser
him.
just grabs him first round.
Yeah, Tim is also unsure.
no worries, Tim. I know it's a
Someone
little
message
confusing.
Christian Harloff.
I will.
It's a whole mess.
Well, let's think about this for a second. I know we're getting off topic here, but Kaiser for keepers, say the three people that he wants to keep or goes after to keep: Kevin Smets, Robert Parker, and who else?
Well, Smets isn't
is not
being
playing
kept.
next
So
season.
Smets wouldn't be included. So then
No.
Robert Parker,
A Zipper,
I would say Zipper.
I'd
so
say
Parker, Zipper, and then
probably Adam.
Witt. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: you going to take Adam Witt, 0-5, or are you going to take Dan Murrell?
The
I
GOAT.
get Adam Witt is like I
A
would
bitch,
love
and
to
I
have him
love
on my
Witt.
team.
Yeah.
It's
But when you're standing next to those two-
real quick though, is he not taking Smets
Oh.
because like Smets is like officially out as of right now?
For the
I
entire
think
year?
they're marking Smets officially out for the
Yeah.
year. I think that's what
Yeah.
Okay.
His comeback will be a special thing.
It's gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna make that a. Yeah.
So Dan to the dungeon officially is a possibility, which is crazy to think about because
Kaiser doesn't
you would
give
have
that's
you would
insane.
have oh my god, you would have a Parker in IG, you would have a Dan Murrell in singles, and then you could give Zipper the teammate he's always needed.
Zipper and Merle would balance each other out really pretty solidly.
Zipper wanted to be the next Merle. How do you do that?
There
You
you
could
go.
get him with Merle.
You could give
That's the name of the
Zipper
team.
you could give Zipper the teammate he has always needed and then grab
Oh,
a
Oh, I
Brian-
forgot about
Draft.
Vinny.
Brian's right.
I did
He
forget
does
about.
have a big soft spot for Vinny.
I love
Yeah.
Vinny.
But don't you think he could probably grab Vinny in the draft?
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably.
And then he could grab a Star Wars player in the first round if he doesn't keep a Star Wars player.
Yeah.
Zipper.
He
Merle
could
team.
he could probably grab Adam back if he wanted to, or he can
Yeah.
grab this one.
Huh? What?
Or hers. Oh, that's not the right way. Or hers.
I'm pointing in the next room.
So
Video Drew.
it's crazy.
Star Wars. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Video Drew is up there in Dungeon too.
I would
Anyway.
also like to say
anyway,
we like Kaiser at the Cinefanatics, and
Anyway, the title match.
Yes, the title match. Sorry. Let's retract. Let's go back into it a little
Welcome
bit.
to POV,
we-
everybody.
yeah. We talked about the match a lot with Adam, but let's kind of filter this in a little bit. Quick thoughts about that, and then talk about the cutscene afterwards. Robert, I'll go to you next, man. What did you think of all this chaos towards the end?
with kind of like what I was saying earlier with the going into the sudden death. That was like we were like all for this like at almost 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're like edge of your seat, like the first one to miss, and we're like, oh yeah, that was fantastic. And I mean, I don't know, we said it all with Adam here earlier, like cemented his legacy already in the first season, and that's insane to cement a legacy in your rookie year like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like nothing we've ever seen before.
No.
It's,
I don't know if it'll ever be done again either.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, yeah, you can compare it with Paul, but he also wasn't drafted. He also won the horror free for all.
Yeah.
He won a tournament to get, I mean, granted, it would have been matches, but he had to run through a tournament to get that shot. He TKO'd Roca in the first round of the tournament. Like, it's just, it blows my mind. But I mean,
the Schmoedown keeps, I mean, it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm so happy for Christian and everyone involved that it is growing. But that also means you're going to get more people like Adam Collins coming in.
Yep.
Being like, you think this guy's good, this lady is good. Yeah, I'm here to wreck the house.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I can't wait.
So Roka heel, huh? And Finstock Exchange going back to the drawing board. That's pretty big.
I'm
The
so
fact
glad
that
Roka Heel's back.
Roka heel is back. The fact that
Ever
Roka
since
is back.
Smashathon, when he did
the not Schmoedown match.
The Ellis thing.
I was like, that's
The
what I
Schmoedown
want.
bootleg. Schmoedown bootleg.
Yes,
Schmoedown
the
bootleg.
I was like, that's what I want. And he gave it to us, and I'm super excited.
Ugh.
It was so shocking because I thought he was going after Finstock.
Me too.
And then he directed it, and Dan, I was like, what is happening? Dan doesn't deserve this.
No. What did Dan do?
You like wanted to like hug Dan and be like, go away. Leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
Stop being mean to my friend.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's talk about this because so we talked about Dan being a free agent, and the possibilities for him are endless right now. Free agency officially started because Shannon did put her 3 out there. She's keeping Kalinowski, she's keeping Chance, she's keeping Collins. So now free agency officially is ready to go. It's there. It's everyone can contact whoever the hell they want. But Finstock, all 3 of them. Boom, boom, boom. Finstock said, "I'm essentially restarting." Put that finger down. I'm essentially restarting, and I'm going to rebuild. And Roka came in right after him and said, "We're building this in the image that I want to build it." And so we're going to see maybe like a full-on heel faction if that's actually happening.
Yeah.
Like a real
corruption.
I will say for a split second, I thought Roka was going to be the 9th manager.
Yeah, so did I.
I thought that for a split second.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, bummer. But who had Dan Murrell in free agency on their bingo card? Because like
me.
My free
no
space.
one expected that to happen. Are you kidding me? The fact that Dan frickin' Murrell is not on a faction right now absolutely blows my damn mind. Like that whole last promo, that whole last storyline promo. Well, not the last, but the one after this match was insanity because so much happened in the span of like 5 minutes.
And that was after 9 hours of streaming it.
Literally. And so like we get Gucci popping in saying like, I didn't want to be here because we've been losing. And so I knew we were going to lose. And so F all you guys, I'm going to build this from the ground up and you're not part of it. Okay, bye. And we were like, what was that about? And then Roka comes in like, what the heck, Gucci? Why are you going to, oh, just kidding. Yeah, Dan, you suck. I'm going to also burn everything down to the ashes and rise the phoenix. And I'm going to, I'm taking names and numbers and I'm going to flip my hat back.
Gabby laughing at what Jeremy said?
No, Gabby, I don't know. No. When she's laughing at Jill. She's laughing at Jill.
Gabby, I appreciate it.
Because I was imagining Jake having to write in with Roka a cowboy hat. So I thought that might have been what it was.
He could wear an indie hat.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
You gotta learn how to use a whip, though.
I know.
I played him for 7 years as a kid in Halloween, so I'm sure I know.
Yeah, it's matches. Also, side note, just for the match too. Match of the year for me.
Yeah, and I think did someone ask that either in the chat or Streamlabs? I'm gonna double check Streamlabs. Someone else can go. Oh yes, someone did ask that. So Tim Sim asked that. It's clear that the main event of Spectacular will be my pick of match of the year. I just wonder how many nominees will we have for this award?
Like 19. There were so many great matches this season. Like
I mean, the final exam odd couple in the teams tournament.
That was great.
The Star Wars tournament final.
Mm-hmm. You could probably put Demolanta Scrimshaw in there.
Yeah.
I was even gonna say Ace and Laura too.
Heck, you could.
I don't know.
You could put Marisol and Bonnie Somerville in there. Like that's fantastic.
I think Thornton Flaus, Kevin Smith.
The first Flaus, Kevin Smith. There's so many great matches, and like for me, match of the year doesn't mean like it was a championship match and there were all these points. It's like it could be these fun, goofy matches that are up there too. But for me, the championship match was
it was a lock. Last match of the year was the best match of the year. Easy.
I think. I mean, I had the most intense reaction to Ace beating Demolanta, but I mean, that's just me.
I did too. Oh no, I did too. I lost my damn mind. I was like, what?
I will never doubt Ace again after that.
No.
Even playing Alex.
Nope.
Chris and Robert, what do you think of this whole FinStock exchange debacle that we got going on?
There's a few things here. I mean, first of all, yeah, I do think that's easily like the best singles match that we've had in a spectacular before. So there's that side of it. But as far as like the FinStock exchange stuff, what I love about this is that we've got three confirmed returns to norm out of this spectacular. Obviously, Ben Bateman technically already did his turn back to heel, his heel turn back, whatever, however you say that, when he was going up against Dan before. But his thing with Riley kind of confirmed it in spectacular. Then you've got Roca returning back to old form as a heel again. You've got Gucci with his, you're a loser shtick. He's going back to that. So he's going back to being a heel again. So, I mean, the way I see it is like you're kind of doing this fun thing where you're returning back to some of Schmoedown's roots, which is a really cool thing now that it's going into its 8th season. I think that's absolutely the best. But I have a theory, and my theory is if he doesn't have a winning season this season, Roca is retiring as a heel, kind of bookending his career in the Schmoedown.
That does not surprise me. That I
think
agree with you on that one.
I think he sticks around if he's winning. If he's winning, he's going to continue having that hunger and that fire to keep going.
On the flip side, though, I also know Roca, and it's going to take a lot to get Roca to completely step away from Schmoedown, whether it's competing or managing or an advisor or something. Yeah, he's not gonna like fully drop out of the Schmoedown completely, but I'm thinking retiring from competing at least for a good long period. I can see that.
Robert, you got any thoughts?
So my first thought with Roca is I'm kind of interested to see how the fan interaction on this goes, because I know kind of like towards the beginning of this, when Roca was like always healed, there was it seemed like a lot of fans had issues connecting with his character. And it just took some time for people to understand what a heel is and how a heel performs and everything. And so he went back to being a face, and everyone's liking him and everything. Now that he's switching back to heel, I wonder if I'm hoping that's going to still maintain the same fan interaction that he has like now with everyone like, oh, okay, now we get it. Now he's being a bad guy again. Cool. But the thing is, at the same time, like we were saying earlier with Chandru, we had like a lot of people like Chandru until he stared down Kevin Smets and then became this obnoxious character that he's been playing. So I'm wondering if that's gonna help or hurt Roca in this case. But rebuilding FinStock, kind of like what Jill was saying, is that I foresee him playing still this next season, but possibly being more in control of the FinStock exchange. And I would actually say, come like spectacular next year, I wouldn't be surprised if he decides like, screw it, Gucci can't do anything. I'm going to be in charge I'm the captain now. Yeah. I'm going to be in charge of this. And he's just going to change the FinStock exchange to just the straight up Horsemen.
Yep.
And it's just going to be an entire Horseman faction.
R.I.P. the Horsemen.
Yeah. Horsemen are officially dead. I mean, if Riley comes back, there's still 2 of them, but
he'll probably, Roca will probably recreate them again for this next, it'll be a whole nother set of Horsemen, but
yeah.
That's true.
Before we kind of wrap up here, I did want to ask with FinStock Exchange kind of essentially rebranding themselves, do you see them keeping anybody that they currently have now that they got rid of Dan?
Damon to Roca.
I don't know if they keep Barbarian.
I don't think they keep Barbarian.
I don't know if they keep Barbarian. Yeah, Riley, Dimolanta, Roca.
I would say Riley after yesterday, probably Riley.
Yeah.
Sabrina.
And someone put in the chat. Someone did put in the chat, if they are going to turn heel, I think Chuck put this in the chat, that Brandon, Hannah, and Sabrina are demanding to be a team.
Yeah, from that
fit well with Bobby Gucci.
Promo from the first promo.
I still haven't seen that. I need to
oh
see.
my God,
could fit well with FinStock.
Great. Like oh my God, Sabrina came in and absolutely effing killed it. It was great. It was so good. I think they might be a team next season.
Hi, Paris.
Well, I mean, do we have anything else we need to touch on before we get out of here, guys? Anybody have any final thoughts?
Are you kidding?
Thought.
Are you joking?
No,
We're just
yes,
gonna leave.
no, I'm joking. I'm joking. Relax.
Oh, I thought there was.
Hold on.
What else did we have?
We got to talk about the creepy thing.
Yeah, this naughty.
The mask.
Yeah,
Why we gotta end on a cliffhanger?
Who's
Yeah.
in the mask?
it works. It's the way that it
Who's
works.
in the mask?
I think there's a lot of possibilities that who can be in the mask. I know that with the way it ended yesterday, I feel like Grace might be a part of it in some
That's
capacity.
who I was thinking.
Just the way that it all ended, it kind of fits. But I don't know. I don't know. Like
It's,
who
there could
who
be
stole Andrew Guy? Like who stole Andrew Guy?
it could be Andrew Guy this entire time, just effing with us. Like
It's the return of Thad.
Oh my god! Imagine if it was.
That'd be so good.
That
Just
would
comes
be so good.
revenge on the entire league.
Oh my
What
god,
if-
that would be great.
What if it's that Pauly D lawyer guy or Pauly G? I think
yeah,
part of
Oh
it.
yeah, I met
He's
that guy
part
at
of
the
it.
awards once. Yeah,
I
yeah.
did too. He was very nice.
He was very nice. I mean, does anybody have like any real thoughts about the whole?
I like Davlin's idea.
What's Davlin?
What do you say?
It's Brad Gilmore.
Ooh.
Honestly, he
I
crossed
love
my mind.
that.
He crossed my. Brad did cross my mind.
I
what
love
if, what if
it.
it's Brad and Frank that are actually the Schmoedown?
Brad, Frank, and Jen, the three of
That
them.
they've been running the whole
That'd
like
be
the original
amazing.
after show
On top of
background.
that, I will add to that. The one I actually want to see is finally see Ellis dive into some storylines
Yes.
that he was
Yeah,
Who I was
pushing.
gonna
Yeah.
say,
because
yeah.
because
I was gonna
Guy
say
said it's not Christian. It's not Christian's not a part of it. Christian. He didn't say Christian and Ellis aren't a part of it.
Yeah, it was just.
I would love to see Mark Ellis just get into a storyline somewhere in there.
He's so amazing.
Yeah.
There's-
But otherwise,
There's a lot. There are a lot of possibilities. There are like a lot of possibilities.
Well,
Rayton mentioned Emma Fife. That'd
Oh,
be
Emma Fife would be
crazy.
To bring her back. Yeah.
Wasn't there a part during the spectacular where it seemingly looked like Ellis was like making a joke about Christian, like, "Oh, I guess we used to be friends," and then he sat there like pouting for like a little bit. That was like secretly just like a little subliminal plant that we're not supposed to get. But I caught it because I was watching it, and so therefore, like, it was one of those.
Oh my God.
I'm hoping it's Alex.
It's Alex Damon.
I would love that because
We
That
found
No one sees that coming.
because then Molly's got to lie to y'all for at least the next half a year.
Yeah.
no, I mean that would prove that he could keep a secret from me, and he can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so we do have two Streamlabs that have just come through to finish up here. This one came from Sari, and she said, or he said, action guys today, more info, weirdness on the Drew being missing. So that show was at 5 o'clock earlier.
I'll have
I
to
guess
watch.
there might be some info because they had Jen on too, so there might be some info on there.
Was Drew missing during that show?
I'm not sure. I think he was there. I'm pretty sure he was there. Sorry,
Imagine,
I've seen
imagine
you
if they
commenting.
played that up like throughout the rest of like until the end of the year, where like Drew is just missing.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's on no action guy shows for like the next 4 months. Like we just don't know where Andrew Guy is.
That's commitment right there, though.
Yes.
I would love
Um,
that.
This one came from or Kylie Gone Heel. She says,
Gone heel.
yeah.
Gone heel.
Gone here.
There you go. Action guys today. Drew didn't show up. Jessica and the voice of
Oh, are they playing it up?
I
Well,
love
okay.
that.
I love it.
So also in real world, Andrew Guy's been busy with this game,
Yeah, with the
game
app.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a great way to plug it all, though. It's a great way. To
Yeah.
plug
Doing that.
so it works great for the storyline, though.
Yes.
I
Yeah, he's
love
always busy this time of year, so they either kick they either kick him out of the league or he's captured or something during this time of the year.
All right. Kylie Gone Heel. She had said it's impression time. Let's get everyone's best heel promo on another host tonight. And as
Oh.
Bruce Buffer would say, it's time for the main event.
So what are we doing? We're doing.
We just have to do a heel promo against someone
Anybody?
on this panel.
Oh, on the
Who
panel.
wants to go first?
Okay, Molly's up.
Oh wait, against you guys or
Against
against
one of us. Against one of us.
Oh, Never mind.
I, know, I already did mine earlier today when I went after every single manager on the roster. So.
Oh, okay. I got one. Brian,
Me.
if you think you know more about Twilight than I do, bring it. Bring it.
Yeah. So Nerd Chronic, if the three of us would like to be a part of a Twilight After Dark Nerd Chronic
Video Chronic.
Video Chronic, if you have time.
So I can destroy Brian. And anyone else who thinks they know more about Twilight than me.
I'll just have fun. I'll wear my vampire toofs and I'll just have a good time.
Toops.
My toofs.
Anybody else have anything?
We all gotta do one. Or else Kylie's gonna seek revenge. That's what she does. If we don't
Okay, who wants to go next?
I'm trying to think of mine. That's where I can go with this.
Oh, well, while you guys are thinking, I have one last Streamlabs that come through.
Okay.
I believe this is from Chuck, because he put something up in the chat. Scorpio Rising. War is coming. Hashtag draft Jake. Send in your audition tape.
Oh my god. Cool. All right, let me see. Who am I gonna go against? Everyone pick on Brian, then we can find.
I'm done. Okay, I'll go.
I am so nice.
Brian, you ever try to come after me for Marvel, Star Wars, whatever it is, I'm gonna lay a smackdown on you just like I did a Toy Story.
Oh damn!
Oh no!
He removed himself, by the way. He removed himself.
My heart hurts now.
Oh no! I'm not gonna go after Brian now. That one hurt me. That was a good one.
Chris and Robert, you guys got anything?
I'll let him go first.
Come on, gentlemen, if y'all want to be drunk.
Yeah, you guys want to be in it.
So Brian. Word is that you decided to start an after show called Certain Point of View, and you decided to do reactions the same time we are, the same nights we are. Brian, know your role. Look at who came before you. Why are you doing this? Why are you trampling on the shoes of people that have been there before, Brian? Why, Brian? We need to know why. And why do you
hear it, Brian? You don't need to hear it, Brian. You know what? We're tired of you. Get out of here. You don't move in on our territory. You think this is your show, Brian? You think this is your show, Brian? We're taking over the show now. This is now our show, Brian. That's a Fanatics point of view. Yeah, that's right, guys. Welcome to the Cinefanatics point of view. You didn't see this coming tonight, did you? Welcome to our show, chat.
My name's Robert Adams.
My name's
Chris Adams. Make
My
sure
name's
to join our
Chris Adams. That's what my
Patreon,
name is.
like, comment, subscribe, like whatever.
And if you have anything to say to us, send it to streamlabs.com/JakeBerlin/tip.
Oh my god.
That's great. That's so good. That's so good. That's a great way to end. Great way to end. But I do want to mention one more Streamlab. This is from Bedore, and she says, "No question, just love you guys." Thank you guys, everybody, for hanging out this entire time. That was incredible. Yes, Brian, I will definitely be clipping that out. Chuck, you are in POV.
Yeah, you guys are mean.
You have one, Brian? Yeah, do you have one, Brian?
Let's see. What can I
Heal
go?
Brian. Heal Brian.
Should I be? I'll be heel Brian like Alex. You guys are really mean, and I don't like it. That's heel Alex.
I don't want to forget. And Brian, thank you so much in the chat. Chris and Robert, favorite candies, favorite movie snack.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the candy's easy. I think we're both picking Reese's here.
Yeah, we're gonna sound like Alex Damon here.
I could just see you two like during like when you were growing up, like Halloween, fighting over who everyone's Reese's?
That's exactly what happened.
There's no fighting. I'm 8 years older than him. There's no fighting.
I mean, that's true. He did get all the Reese's, but still, it's not the point. Movie snacks a little bit harder because obviously we have like Alamo Draft Houses and like movie theaters that serve actual like meals. So I'm gonna go with chicken tenders and gravy and French fries.
Oh, yeah.
They're actually at one point. I lived right next to a new Alamo Draft House that had opened, and they were trying out like a new menu, and one of them were these. Sorry, C2A could possibly call me out on this, but a loaded fries, not poutine, had it had like the oh man, I'm forgetting the name of it. It like not bacon, but the thicker pieces of it, like lardons or something on there, and just whatever they put on there. Yeah, pork belly.
Pork belly, yeah.
Yeah. So they put like this pork belly on there, and then they got rid of it, and that was the crack of Alamo Draft House. That specific one, like I hate the fact they took it off there, but that was my go-to every time. Like I would go see a crappy movie at this Alamo Draft House just to be able to sit there and eat those fries, which is bad because I could have just sat in the lobby and ordered the fries as well. So.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up.
I do want to say one last thing before we all do our.
Go ahead, Jill. Floor is yours.
Thank you to Christian Harloff and Mark Ellis for this amazing season. Thank you to the writing staff, PJ Campbell, Abigail Friel, the whole writing team. Y'all effing killed it this season. Everyone behind the scenes, Nerd Chronic. Everyone who is helping put this amazing show together and who made it so amazing digitally, because for a while we were all terrified that we would not even get a Schmoedown this season. And it absolutely blew it out of the park. It was amazing. So thank you to all of you guys, everyone at Skybound. All my love and shout out to everyone who made this season possible. So thank you so much, guys.
Oh, see, look, Reefton DM'd me saying I can move to him with Germany. So screw you guys. Get out of here.
Brian, there will be a show every single week. So there you go. Chris and Robert, you guys want to do any plugs where they can find you online and everything? Chris, if you want to start it off.
Yeah. First of all, I mean, the easiest place is over on youtube.com/cinefanatics. We're doing stuff over there. We have our show that we do every Tuesday night at 9:30 Central Time. It's called The Tagline. It's the show where the tagline is the title. And that's where we talk about like all the movie news and everything. And we got a big one coming up this Tuesday because we're going to be talking about all of that Disney goodness that dropped this last week. So
Yay!
We're going to be doing all that there. We also are doing Schmoedown Replay, although that's kind of done for this season for now. Yeah. Maybe some slight changes coming to how we do that show going next season. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, I mean, you find us at the social media handles at Chris Adams MLP. He's got at Robert Adams MLP, and we're both at Cinefanatics MLP. We also got our Patreon, and we just started our Discord on there. So everybody at the $1 tier over on Patreon gets to hop in our Discord, and we're trying to build a sweet, awesome community over there too. So
all their links are in the description. And I will say this: if you have never seen the Cinefanatics, do yourselves guys a treat and go watch them. They're one of the OGs. We would not be here if it were not for them.
Nope.
So Chris and Robert, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah,
I know it's long.
Good idea, Brian.
Yeah, you're welcome. As long as when I come to Texas, you take me to Whataburger, that's all I care about.
Deal.
We'll pick up some Whataburger, but I got some better places to take you.
Yes, and again, thank you guys for hanging out so long in the stream. I know it's a little late where you guys are, but really appreciate it. You guys are always welcome back here on POV. It was an absolute blast for the last couple hours talking Schmoedown and Spectacular with you guys. So whole crew here. Molly, why don't you send everyone to your social medias and everything?
Yeah, I'm at Molly Damon on Twitter, Molly Damon on Twitch. Me and Alex are over on Star Wars Explained on YouTube talking about Star Wars. This Friday is going to be our last Mandalorian live stream. Check out the previous one with the POV crew. Super fun.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, and I'm at Molly Mander on Instagram, but it's a lot of makeup, a lot of the animals, not a lot of Star Wars there.
Jill.
Jilly Marie on Twitter and Instagram, 2 Y's, 2 E's. You can also sometimes catch me over on the Pajukin, the PJ Campbell Network. I believe I don't know if they're still doing the Unwind right now. Might pop in there later. But yeah, Jilly Marie, 2 Y's, 2 E's on Instagram and Twitter.
Brian?
I'm still recovering from being assaulted. Biavalcino on Twitter and Instagram.
Qui-Gon Jake, Twitter, Instagram, 2 N's because someone else took it before I did. You can find us at Schmoedown POV on Twitter. You can hit us up on Streamlabs for questions. The Patreon link is down below as well. Watch alongs, all that type of stuff. After show hangouts, you'll see a lot of those here in the coming weeks. Reaped on. And then, yes, to all of you wondering, we will still have a weekly show with the season ending, and then we also have some other things planned as well. So stay tuned for some more information on that in the coming week.
For January.
Very, very fun stuff planning. And then I will also say, if you were interested in watching more Schmoedown spectacular content, you can head over to Call to Action right now. They actually have Adam Collins, Chandru, and Marisol McKee on with them right now on their channel. So you can pop over there and watch some more Schmoedown content. So for the whole crew here, for the Cinefanatics, Robert and Chris, thank you guys again, and the whole entire View crew watching. We appreciate you. We love you. And we'll see you guys next week.